Hey, hello, welcome. It's gonna be a Monday. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I was on time for once. I'm not that late usually, but I was like watching the countdown go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The show is not done. It's actually just starting. Thank you, Mel Robbins. As you will see throughout the show, oh my God, there's a bug that will be following me the whole show. And on top of that, I got a lot of new sound bites. Like a lot. I mean, this is not a new one, but...
What up, homie?
It needs to be said at the top. I spent probably... Well, I went back and watched, like, the whole... Well, I go and cut the highlights out, basically. So if you didn't know, there's a highlights channel. So if you don't want to watch 4 hours, if you're watching this replay and you're like, I just want one segment, there's a whole other channel. It's linked below, I believe, hopefully. And I try to cut up the segments. So while I was doing that in the editing process, I cut out the sound bites. So I got a bunch of new ones. So you better be grateful for the hard that I put myself through, okay? What's everyone up to? How's it going? How's it going, everybody? Let's ask Lisa Billy what's up with her.
I'm outside the Cheesecake Factory waiting for it to open.
Oh. Well, that's interesting, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you. We will be there once it opens. I don't have the commitment that you do. The radical commitment to Cheesecake Factory. Okay, so tonight we're going to stick in Hollisville. However, we're going to go a little bit outside the city limits in the sense of this person, we're going to talk about the basics. We're going to go through Dave. We're going to talk about Rachel. There's so many updates that need to be done. A little bit of Heidi, just a little bit of roulette, Hollisville roulette. But we're also going to add in a new person that I have not talked about in depth, at least on this channel, which is Bruce Pitcher. And he's been featured many, many times through content on Heidi's Instagram, many times on Dave's as well as of late. So, he's not controversial in any way, but I think there's been some drama, perhaps, between Transform, which is Chris and Heidi's, they've split off or whatever, and his new company. And so why not talk about it? I brought his YouTube channel up the other day, last week on the stream, just briefly, and it was very reminiscent of like The Biggest Loser and of Extreme Makeover Weight Loss Edition. Similar vibes. But I think we should talk about it and just kind of go through who he is. And also, it's not a but also, but still.
But also.
What was I going to say about him? But also, I forgot. And also, that's what I was going to say. Heidi, you know how I've accused Heidi of taking everything from Rachel Hollis, essentially? Like Rachel Hollis wears a hat, Heidi buys the same hat. Rachel Hollis comes out with a quote, Heidi takes the quote. Rachel Hollis talks about, butterflies, Heidi talking about butterflies. And we talked about that on last week's stream, and I'll keep adding to it as I find more things. The biggest one being gluten. So Rachel Hollis, obviously, was talking to Lisa Bilyeu, and that was the two-parter that we did last week. And she said, I'm going gluten-free. She looked in the mirror at the yoga studio one day and said, we're done. We're done, Satan. No more gluten for me. And then her relationship with gluten was over. And then around the same time, or a couple days later, Heidi made a series of Instagram stories where she was like, selling a product, of course, which she does very often on Instagram. And she said, oh, by the way, I'm gluten-free now. Okay. And then Rachel revealed that she had a panic attack back in April. And then all of a sudden Heidi had a panic attack back in July. It's amazing. It just, it's quite interesting. So basically, bringing the train home to the station, it looks like Heidi might have also taken some things from Bruce, some life lessons from Bruce, perhaps. And but Bruce also took some things from Heidi and Chris. So everyone's just stealing each other's ideas. Nothing is original. Nothing is sacred. That's the conclusion we're at today. So welcome again. Let's see. What are we going to talk about, Heidi? What are we going to talk about?
They're going to be dropping some really powerful, amazing, life-changing shiz.
That we will. That we will. Will the show be funny and good and also a little serious at times?
There's a first for everything.
True. This is my favorite new soundbite, perhaps. This is in relation to Heidi, obviously. Okay, this is Heidi's goal.
I try my hardest to not work.
Okay, and all right, so also, if you have not joined the membership through YouTube, Patreon is no more. That is done. If you've joined the Patreon, you should have been alerted that it's been canceled and deleted from all existence, I think, perhaps. And you shouldn't be able to even access the code or the link anymore. If you want to join the membership, there's on the channel and also a link in the description, there's a link to join. We're close to 100 members. Whoa, hold on, I gotta hit the button. Close to 100 members. And then once we hit 100, I can release the second batch of emotes and emojis in celebration. So that is important because if you do join the membership, and there's 2 tiers, either tier, you can still participate. You can vote in polls, and I actually put a poll on today, and I'm gonna check it, because it's going to determine which thing we watch, possibly first or exclusively, depending on how much time we have. Thank you, JB. JB says, hit me with your funniest 2 sound bites. Okay. For you, JB, I will do it. Okay, you ready? This is if you have children at home, block their ears. Here's Rachel Hollis. This is me liking Rachel Hollis. Ready?
I do not give a fuck.
So good. Okay. That's my favorite. And this one also has got to be my second favorite because it's so perfect.
Unfollow me.
There you go, JB. You're welcome. Thank you for the donation. And welcome, Ash. Ash, it's Elon Musk's child's name. Thank you for joining. And Robert, it's in the link below. It should be there. And then you can vote in the polls, the very important polls. So I'm pulling up the polls now. Thank you, everybody, for doing. Okay. So 41% said they wanted to listen to Rachel Hollis chatting with her DJ about tour. So we'll do that one first. I listened to the first couple minutes of it. There was a couple interesting things that I sort of want to look into, and we can do it live. She mentioned that they went to the same church, and she mentioned the name of the church. And if I'm not mistaken, now this could be not a conspiracy theory. This could be just a misunderstanding of my lack of Christianity knowledge in the sense of what the names are and stuff. But I'm pretty sure she said Agape Church in LA. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that run by the guy from The Secret? And if so, everything makes sense now. But I want to confirm that before I say that's what it is. So we're gonna start there with our friend Rach talking with the DJ that's gonna be at the Rise conference. He's not gonna be at the Rise conference. He's gonna be in cities across the United States for something called Rach Talk Live. That is basically a Rise for people in different areas. Okay, and also, before we do that, let's just take a little look-see at the website. She's been doing a lot more promotion for Rach Talk Live, I will say, with podcast episodes and having an ad run at her podcast. And she did another podcast with this other guy who talks about passion or something. You know the drill. Me in the castle. That's fine. And she's been going around a little bit more, trying to get, drum up some support. But it looks like they're all still there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, they're all there. Birmingham may be affected perhaps by this incoming hurricane. We'll have to take a look at it and see. And thank you for joining. And keep an eye on it, because she would get lucky like that, right? She would get lucky. And I shouldn't say lucky because it could be completely devastating to people. But, oh, wow. Wow. Okay. So maybe something's changed, or they've moved stuff around. There's no more VIP available. So it says. No, it's Kez. That's her boyfriend's name.
My boyfriend.
His name Kez. So it looks like the front row is, the thing is, I can't trust these. I don't know what's real and what's not. Because some of the other locations show lots of gray area, but it could just mean, oh, thanks, Robert. You figured it out. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But also,
Unfollow me.
I'm just kidding. Don't do that. And someone, this is important. Hold on, let me go back to my, I could have made a faux pas, and about Hopo, because I said last time that there was not thousands of tickets sold. You're lying, Rachel. Someone counted them up, and now I don't know if they counted all of the grayed out areas that could be just siphoned off for non-sale, and we can't look at Detroit. However, even when they did the count, they went one by one. There was 2,000 something tickets sold. Now that could mean that some of the areas are not sold and they're just showing that they're sold, but I do want to give her props where props are, fairly due. And she did sell thousands of tickets because 2,000 is more than 1,000. Now, obviously, I think she was trying to make it seem like much grander and, thousands and thousands. Doesn't mean 2,000, but I was wrong. So, I'm canceled. I can never return until I have been forgiven for this mistake. So I will wait anxiously for that announcement. Okay, let's just go back quickly. So it looks like things are selling a little bit. This is the smaller area. They changed venues. So this is the smaller one. They changed it from a different one. And Charleston also changed venues to a much smaller location. Okay, this one still has VIP available. But yeah, it looks like much more reasonable. Oh yeah, I have my yellow screen. Caitlin Amanda, thank you. Okay, we're getting close to that 100 mark. So, after that, next week, we can release everything and vote in more polls together as a group. Okay, so got a bunch of spots in the back. If you're in Charleston, Joliet. Let's see. Joliet's got some work to do. It seems like, so the first two were downsized to smaller venues. I don't think any of the other ones have been. So, not ideal. Okay. Yeah. Lots of blue left, and blue again is unsold. Not sold yet. Not sold yet in Joliet. That is where we're going. That's a song, right? Here's Chesterfield, Missouri. Now, this is what I'm talking about. The full side, I just don't believe that those are, and in the back. I don't know if the person that was doing the counting counted those, because I'm pretty sure that those are not sold. Because why would that many people want to sit on the side, but then not sit right in the middle, which is the same price? So, I think they blocked it off. They got a lot to sell. Oh, hi. That was an early arrival. Caffeinated Angel, thank you. Caffeinated Angel, I just cut a clip from Cringefluencers, and it's a long story, but long story short, there was this guy who does like hot takes on, the police and things. He's like a Joe Rogan wannabe type of guy, small level podcast. And his sponsored ad read was Monate. So I was just cutting that. And Caffeinated Angel's comment was on the screen during that moment. So I seen her name all day. And Taro's here. Hello. Want to say hi? She says hi, but she's like, okay, pet me now or forever hold your peace. Okay, we're almost through this. Chesterfield. Okay, Kansas City. What up? Blaze Goddess, thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. And this one too, I don't think all the back seats are taken. So this is not till the 13th, so they got some time, but these tickets have been on sale since June, so this isn't looking super great either, in my humble opinion. I'm pretty sure Detroit, you cannot see it. But she did fix Charleston, so the link does work today, so that's progress. We can't see Detroit, so I have no idea. And then Cincinnati, and again, Detroit, she said, was one of the best-selling cities, so it's surprising that they're blocking who can see it. All these are back, they're all blocked, and then a lot of blue left on the side, so they might just have a middle row at the end. And this is the big finale in Cincinnati. And they canceled Columbus, so this is supposed to be the just drive. I don't know how far Columbus and Cincinnati are, but I would imagine it's more than 5 seconds. So that's asking a lot. There she is, our girl Rach. Albanese, welcome. Thank you. Albanese says, are you going to cover Rachel's A Quick Word podcast where she basically said she's perfect and that's why she's in a great relationship? I listened to that today. It is quick. We could do that as well. JL, thank you as well. JL says, for Taro's treats. Oh, you hear that? You'll get some treats. Want to say thank you? One more. She's shy. She says thank you. And for Albanese, yeah, we can listen to it. It's short. It's really short, and it cuts off really fast. So maybe we can start with that. We'll go against the members, because who cares? I'm just kidding. The members mean nothing. Just joking. We'll do it all. It's really short. So, and I think it's sort of funny. She's like, I just became the best version of myself. And then I met Kez on a dating app. But she forgot that she wasn't looking for love. She was looking for friendship, allegedly. Anyways, thank you to Albanese and to JL and to Emily. Oh, that was me who counted. I counted gray seats, but not the big sections that were closed off. Okay, good. So 2,000-ish, 2,000 plus tickets have been sold without the sides, obviously not being counted for. So I was wrong. She has sold thousands, which honestly, that's pretty good. Like, as much as it's sort of embarrassing that it's gone down from tens of thousands to 2,000, to still sell 2,000 tickets in multi-cities for a person who's been canceled as much as she has, it gives me hope for my future. Oh, Taro. She's being very needy today. She's like, I need more money for treats. Thank you. Okay, and for everybody, that was a lot. Thank you, everybody, for those. And for that, I will reveal another one. This is for everybody. This is about me to you guys.
I'm more of a hippie than you are.
And also,
I don't know if anybody has worked as hard on this topic as I have.
I don't know if anyone's worked as hard covering Hollisville as I have. So we have that in common. I don't know if either one's a good thing. But we'll find out after the break. Okay, so I said we will listen to a quick word, Finding Love. It's only 4 minutes. So we'll knock that out, and then we'll listen to the real T, the DJ, and talk about their church and stuff, which I thought was sort of interesting. Okay, you ready? One more time.
I do not give a fuck.
I love that one so much. Okay, here we go. A quick word, Finding Love. This is how Rachel Hollis found love.
Hey guys, it's Rachel, and this is a quick word on finding love. I have a very dear friend who went through a breakup last year and is looking.
She never has any dear friends. Anytime she says I have a dear friend, it's a lie, in my opinion, because she has so many dear friends with very specific life problems that are just applicable to her life specifically. It's very, very suspicious. Very suspicious. Oh, thank you, Caitlin Amanda. Caitlin Amanda says, more treats, more treats. You hear that? More treats, kitty. Here, you want just one more time? She says, thank you. She uses the microphone as her scratching post. Let's see.
You are privileged AF.
That's Taro's message. Thank you. Okay, back to it.
For love. They finally feel ready. They've done the therapy. They've done the healing. And he's looking for love. And he's the kind of person who is not looking to date. He is looking for a girl.
Just like Rachel wasn't looking to date. Instead of a she, it's a he. So that's, it's really throwing us all off.
And he wants a partner. He doesn't know how to do a sort of shallow conversation. He's one of those people, which is probably why we're friends, who wants to go deep right away.
He is why we're good friends. She's definitely talking about herself. Let's just all get on board with that.
Hey, what's really going on? And what do you think about this? And what did you learn in therapy? And what's your childhood trauma? He's an incredible person, but he was talking about all of the things that he wanted in a partner. And I asked him, I was like, have you ever written this down? Have you ever put in a journal entry like, I want to attract this kind of person to my life? I did this, gosh, I guess a year and a half ago, almost. Yeah, January of 2021. I wrote this down in my journal. I was like, I'm not ready to find a partner, but when I do, I want my partner to be this. I want him to have these values. I want him to care about this stuff. I want him to love adventure and be open to change and love music. And I just like wrote down all these things, and I forgot that I had written that down. I was really intentional about it. I was really focused.
I was very intentional, and I forgot completely. Isn't that the whole point? You're supposed to like write the same thing every day or something. I don't know. I thought the whole point was like to remember daily. That's why you're writing it down. But okay, I'll let it slide.
But I sort of wrote it down and then just kind of threw it up to God, and that was that. And I didn't think about it anymore. And it wasn't until probably a year later that I was reviewing my journal and I found that entry. And I totally bugged out because I had written a paragraph of the man that I ended up falling in love with. I literally described my boyfriend today. And
My boyfriend? Thank you, Darby DeFord. Darby says, update, first med school exams went well, so I'm basically qualified to heal your whole life. Only 777.77 to become clear, clear, clear. You've messed up there, Darby. It's actually 97797. Come on. This is in the code of ethics of healings at large. But for that I say,
clear, clear, clear.
You are clear, clear, clear. You are clear, clear, clear for landing. Thank you, Darby. And thank you so much for that inclusion. And for that, I will also say, oh, Kitty. Oh no. I will also say,
I was the one that needed to get a life.
damn. Has he healed? We'll find out. Thank you, Darby. All right, back to Rach.
I had forgotten that I wrote this, and it gave me chills all over because I was like, oh my gosh, I found this person. Like I found the exact thing that I was looking for. So I was telling my friend, I'm like, hey, this is what I did. I did a journal entry and I wrote down all of these things. And he was like, okay, yeah, I love that. I'm going to go do that. So he takes it seriously. He goes back to his journal. He writes down all the things and he comes back to me like, okay, Rachel, this is what I'm looking for. And I'm like, I love this. And I really challenge each.
Who would need to be validated by Rachel Hollis and their relationship choices? You pick Dave, okay? You pick Dave Hollis as your husband. Why would we want to know? Why would we be like, is this good, Rachel? What do you think about this? What do you think about my list? Also, I have something to say about this too, is that she wrote down in her journal for like years, I will be an exceptional wife. I will still love Dave till the day I die. We will still dance when we're 100. Okay, so that journal entry doesn't count. This new journal entry that was done and executed in the same exact way, that's what the universe listened to, not the other stuff that you talked about for years and years and years. Okay, just clarifying, cool. Thank you, Stella Black. Stella Black says, I literally described stabbing my eye with a spoon. Oh. Well, in that case.
They truly have it all.
That's a random one, but this is Rachel and Kez.
They truly have it all.
They truly have it all. Thank you, Stella.
Every one of you who is looking for love, who wants to find a true partner, someone who meets you, head to head, heart to heart, toe to toe, all the ways. If you want that, I challenge you to do this and to write it down in your journal. And then I challenge you with this question. Are you all of the things that you're looking for? Because we don't attract into our life what we want. We attract into our life what we are.
Yes.
Your partner, your friend circle, your job, all of it on some level is a mirror of who you are as an individual. So if you want to find love, if you want to find that authenticity, if you want to find this person, you have to be this person. If you're saying that you want someone with integrity, but you struggle with integrity, there's going to be a misalignment. If you say that you want someone who's confident, but you struggle with confidence, it's not going to work. You are going to attract.
You can't struggle with anything that you want to find someone else that possesses it. However, your friend group, you're supposed to hang out with people who have a higher vibe than you and people who make more money than you and never be the smartest person in the room, right? So how am I supposed to attract that if I'm not that? I thought my being around those people osmosisly would make me better. So now I'm confused because they're not going to want to be around me because I'm toxic. Question mark? Is that what I'm hearing? I haven't made myself beautiful yet, so I'm not allowed to be around the other beautiful people. But how do I become beautiful if I don't have the opportunity to go out and be with beautiful people? Rachel, please explain.
Into your life the exact characteristics that you are displaying day in and day out. So if you actually want to find an incredible partner, then you need to take some time to figure out how to be incredible on your own. See, that's why I think
Rachel was single for for a longer period than Dave was, to be fair. But they announced the divorce in June. I have the timeline. June 2020. On June 8th, they announced the divorce. They had talked about it privately a month before that. She was already talking about boothing on June 7th, 2021. So about a year. 1 year later. 1 year. Yeah, she was already like, I kissed him. Yeah, so it was June. Oh, weird, actually. Oh my God. June 8th, they announced the divorce, 2020. June 7th, she posted on YouTube that she kissed Kez for the first time. Yikes. Was that enough time to recover and do all the things needed for healing after a 17-ish year marriage? I say no, but I'm no expert about anything, so what the fuck do I know? But seems short, just based on my own life experience. But okay.
Found this beautiful human to do life with because I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how I could be the very best version of me. And I wasn't trying to figure out how to be the very best version of me for a man. I was trying to figure out how to be the very best version of me for me. And when I began to vibrate at that frequency, I attracted someone at that frequency into my life.
And it just cuts off. Also, Toiletgate happened. She made her first apology on April 4th of Toiletgate. So presumably he might have been already around at that time. She started talking about him publicly on June 7th, 1 year from the divorce. So she also says, I'm a different person than I was back then. When Toiletgate happened, I've changed so much. I didn't know I was in a bad place and I was in a horrible situation and I was, struggling and this and this and this. Okay, but she also said she had done all of the work necessary by the time she met Kez, right? Because she attracted him into her life. So that's a month in between at the latest. If she's already talking about kissing him publicly, I'm confused because she said that she was she's done the work since then, since Toiletgate, but the timeline's not making sense for me here. Were you complete then, or were you complete not then? Here's a question. And for Alyssa Warner, thank you so much. Alyssa says, to do life with. She's like a fortune cookie. Yes. She's like a Monate branded fortune cookie or an Arbonne branded fortune cookie. Don't give them ideas because they'll start selling them. Trust me. Where's the one? Did I already click this one? But I think this one's relevant.
I don't know if anybody has worked as hard on this topic as I have.
So there you go. She has been forgiven for her sins. But again, this podcast,
I put out so much crap.
This is just another one. Another piece of crap. I mean, it's again, like the timeline's weird. She said she was binge drinking at the time, and that her friends were concerned that she was going to race out of town. But then all of a sudden she's also like falling in love because she's done all of the healing work. It's like, okay, pick a narrative, pick a narrative. But I don't think people that are, the 2,000 people that are going to this conference or are going to this live event care, obviously, because there's so many red flags. It's ridiculous. So, speaking of,
This situation is a red flag.
I feel like I'm going to get a lot of use out of that one. Also, speaking of Kez, let me pull up his Insta for one quick sec. Is Kelsey in the chat? Kelsey, I need your help. I need you to tell me where that information is about the trek. Okay, so this weekend, if you were here last week, I talked about Rachel's like private coaching session thing that I went to about being confident. And I want to share it because they did send me ultimately the replay, but I don't know if I will get in trouble for that because it is like a private thing that you had to pay for. So if I reveal that publicly, I might get in trouble. So, nothing was that exciting, except there was, she mentioned at the end that she was going to do that climb thing that Everest. Oh my God, no, he didn't block me. Just kidding. Let me see. Okay, no, I spelled it wrong. That like climbing the equivalent of Everest. It was something that her and Dave had done like a couple years ago, and Dave was going to get left behind by Rachel. It's actually one of my more interesting Dave interviews that he does with Tim Bilyeu. He's talking about the event itself. And he said he just like pushed through and he said stronger and faster. He kept saying that in his head while he was like trekking up because Rachel was going to leave him in like the dust and she wasn't going to wait for him. And he made it a point. He's like, she really inspired me to keep going. So he tattooed like stronger and faster on his arms later because he wanted to remember that he's stronger and faster than everybody, I guess. I don't know. Trying to keep up with these people's like, life lessons and goals is exhausting. Hippie Kansas girl, thank you so much. Okay, let's see what you said. Let me get it in order. Okay. Hippie Kansas girl says, am I the only hippie that has kissed more people than I've been in a relationship with? Am I the only hippie that knows you don't have to be in a committed relationship with every man you kiss? Rachel would disagree. However, okay, here's not tea, really. It's just when I reread the book, she does talk about kissing other boys in high school, like casually, but she made it seem in that YouTube video where she talked about kissing Kez for the first time that she had never kissed anyone but Dave ever in her life. So she kind of, again, changed the narrative. Now, does it really matter if it's 2 men or 4 men? No, not really. But yeah, I agree. I mean, life is, and then one of her advice, like she gave this advice, Rachel gave this advice on her podcast, like advice to 20-year-olds or what I would have done if I was 20. And it was like, date around. It's like, Rachel, you're not like widower, like cranky old lady. Like you could date around now. It's not like, well, I'm 100, so there's no one that's my age. It's like, if you wanted to date, you could. But I think she's created this narrative in her head where it's like, everything that like a guy messages me, oh, that's a sign from the universe that this is the guy that I'm supposed to be with. And oh my God, his name is Kez. I also like, it sounds like, Tez. And I said Tesla one time. I don't know. Like they try to like make something happen where maybe it doesn't need to. And maybe she's really in love with a guy. Who's to say? But sometimes you can see like what you want to happen and then trick yourself into going, well, that was a message, that was a sign, that's something I attracted when you want it to work. When you don't want it to work, you can do it in the opposite way. So I agree with you, hippie Kansas girl.
I do not give a fuck.
I do though. Why do I care? Thank you though, for real. Thank you. Tara also says thank you. Okay, so here's 3 interesting posts actually. This is like a word for word or like exact replica of Rachel's Instagram this book that Dave Hollis has talked about for like a year now as being very helpful to him during his, divorce journey. So now apparently they're getting on board with IFS, which is a therapeutic modality that's, I think, fairly legit from what I can understand. It's, no, I think sometimes the wellness people can take it and be like, I'm a practitioner, and I think it's supposed to be executed by like a professional therapist. Because like Gabby Bernstein's like, I'm trained in it. It's like, how could you be trained in it? You're not a psychologist or a therapist, but I don't know. And now they're getting on board. So he's like, it's a wonderful book. Okay. And then let me go back for just a second and I'll show you what Rachel posted about the same exact thing. So it's like, they're on the same train. They're like, you posted a picture of this book, I'm going to post a picture of this book. Like, are they getting sponsored by this book or what? Like, okay, we get it. You guys like this book. I don't know, just something I saw. But anyways, going back to Kez. Okay, so here's one about, this one apparently, I looked it up to see what it was about. It's like a new book, and it's all about what Rachel's been talking about recently, at least in the Lisa Bilyeu interview, which is about like women in hospitals. They don't get taken as seriously, and there's like a history of studies where the medical studies were only conducted with male participants, and a lot of women's diseases aren't as funded to be studied, and women who go and they express pain, they don't get listened to as much, and it's a whole thing. I think she's going to be including parts of this in her Girl What the Health book, is my prediction, to try to tell the larger narrative of women's health. So he's promoting sort of in the same line of thought as she is. Okay, saying, it's a great book. And then here's this. I didn't even know there's multiple pictures. Oh, okay. So it says, what a weekend. I had the most incredible time in the mountains with the 29029 Everesting crew. The atmosphere and vibe on the mountain was incredible. I don't know, maybe 29 feet in 36 hours is no joke. The support, love, and inspiration in that community is beautiful to behold. The absolute best, though, was climbing with my love, Ms. Rachel Hollis. To see how you inspire the people around you and to see how much love you give will never cease to amaze me. Thank you to Whistler for this epic, leg-shredding, jaw-dropping, view-revealing journey. So they look happy. However, I think, based on someone who messaged me, and I believe, he finished and she did not. So how do we feel about that? I feel torn because I'm like, good, she was going to leave Dave behind, so it's fair that her partner now leaves her behind. But it's also kind of mean to leave your partner behind, right? Especially if it's like to do this thing together, to climb mountains as a couple, and like she's saying that she's so adventurous and whatever. So and also a great point that somebody made, I don't know who it was, if it was in the same message or not, but they said when Rachel ran the marathon, so she recently-ish in the last couple months ran a marathon with no training, and her whole narrative was like, I ran with love this time, and the last time I ran, she was still with Dave and she was mad at Dave, and so she ran out of like frustration, or she ran while she was frustrated, so she was actually faster when she ran from love. So in this scenario, okay, so that's one scenario, and then in this scenario it's like she's climbing the mountain with Kez, can't make it apparently, or something happened, I don't know, the universe didn't want her to finish perhaps, but then Dave and her finished together last time. So was that out of love? Because she said she didn't love him, or like, it was a bad relationship or whatever. So I'm so confused. And then let me see the other photos. I didn't see the other photos until now. That's like pretty congested of a walk. Like, I'm in nature with my 7,000 other people. Yeah, Whistler, Canada. And yes. Oh, hugging. It's like, okay, there she is. He's like up ahead of her, like, bye, see you later. You're way behind me. Okay, there he is.
Let's find him that red hat. Amazing, amazing.
Bro, where's your girlfriend?
Guys, what a day.
Well done.
All right, Kez. Let's find him that red hat. Amazing, amazing.
Yeah, where's your girlfriend, bro? I cannot wait to hear the podcast to come off like what spin is gonna be on here. Sorry, I'm a little slow. Let me go back. Hello? I'm a little delayed. Oh no. Sorry. It'll come back. Oh, it's back. Okay. Kez made me slow down. His spiritual energy made me just like take a little breath.
Am I the only hippie?
Yes.
I'm more of a hippie than you are.
True. That's a more forceful way to say the same exact thing. Yeah, so let me check. I didn't do my due diligence. Let's see. I'm sure we can do it really quickly. 2029, whatever, Everesting. I'm sure you can look it up. Yeah, but the person that, and I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if Kelsey's here, but she was the one who discovered this happening in real time. And it does make sense that he posted without a picture of her walking out, like, woo, because, well, of course, if she finished, like, there would be that would be there. So, past events. Okay, 2022. What's the date? Oh, no. What? Yeah. Yeah, that would have been, this is the one. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. There you go. I know, like, I would be down to do this too, but I would have to probably train. I think it's probably expensive as well. I feel like this is a whole video in itself, but like I've said before, when you don't have really any adversity, and it's not your fault if you don't have adversity. Like, you grow up in a good family, you have a good job, like nothing really bad, tragic happened. I feel like they push themselves into these extreme sports. Like, I watched this one documentary. It was about, first of all, it was about a robbery that happened and a scam, but it was in the background of this like world running / like savage race, but in Brazil, and you had to go, and it was like 7 days, and you had to avoid snake bites and, run through a crocodile farm. And it was like, oh my God, why would people do this? And it's like, oh, they're all like billionaires or, tech dudes and people who have money. And they're like, I just want to feel something. So, I support it. Okay, so I think we can see. Okay, now I think her name is off. Oh, wait. Why can't I search it? Okay. Why can't I search? What the heck? Because this is like a table or something? Hold on, let me go back. Let's just scroll. There's not that many people. Wait, what the heck? What am I doing? Sorry, everybody. Give me 1 second. Apparently, I don't know how to click a button and scroll. Oh, here it is. Okay, back to it. All right, we got this going. Okay, everybody. I just don't know why I can't search. Oh, there's all different things. Oh, it says he's right at the bottom. He was 259. Okay, so that's him right there. Okay. Now, I think her name is just Rachel. Oh, okay. So he made it to the top. Thank you, Kimberly. Kimberly says, anyone else getting the vibe that Kez is jumping on the influencer train? Maybe he quit his job to join Rachel like Dave did. Well, Kez is bored because Shawn Mendes canceled his tour. So, he's got some free time. So he's like, let's just climb a mountain. Which, I mean, you got the money, you got the time, you got the funds, and you got the ability. Do it. Go for it.
Most people won't get up at 4 a.m.
Most people won't get up at 4 a.m. Oh my God, this bug won't get up at 4 a.m.
Get your hearts ready.
That's what Rachel said before she started their walk. Everyone get your hearts ready.
What happened to dinosaurs?
Maybe she found some at the top of the mountain, actually, and she like got diverted because she was trying to figure out what happened to them. She's like, guys, I know that the end is near. The end is nigh, but I think I see a skeleton popping up from the forest over there. I'm just gonna go check it out. And now she's been like becoming a paleontologist. She took her toothbrush and she's like, rubbing the dirt off of the bones. And she's like, I gotta tell my podcast listeners what happened to them. This is my chance. And then on the way down, she's like, she sees a fried chicken shop, KFC, and it's like recipes found here. And she's like, oh my God, I'm finally gonna have all the answers. Thank you, Kimberly.
I want to be relatable.
Okay, so he made it. He was the last person, it looks like, to make it to the end. Fine, nothing wrong with that. Okay, no summit. Let's see. I guess that means they didn't make it at all, right? Right? Okay, I don't see her on this list. Okay, just looking quickly. Okay, I don't know what all these words mean. Okay, don't see her there. Let's see. Okay. Okay, there she is. 260, which makes sense because Kez was 259. Female. So she made it pretty far. She made it to Kilimanjaro. But he went 1, 2, 3 more summits without her. Yeah, I don't think she's going to like that. She's a weenie. Or she's not a weenie, so she ain't going to like that she didn't make it. How do you guys feel? He's uber rich, Mandy. He's uber rich, I think. I'm guessing. What if he's not? What if he's not Shawn Mendes' tour manager? He's going to be on Catfish. Like, yeah, I have curly hair and it looks like the guy who's Shawn Mendes' tour manager. That'd be really funny. I mean, really crazy, but it'd be interesting. Okay, Kelsey. Thank you, Kelsey. Rachel is under the Kilimanjaro section. Yeah. So, okay. I mean, everyone has different opinions about this.
I don't regret anything.
About whether you would leave your partner behind in an athletic pursuit. Steven and I have talked about this. We talked about it recently, actually, when we weren't even dating yet. We were first kind of talking, being friends, and we went to a 5K together, and I run a lot. He doesn't run so much, and I was sort of like annoyed at the time because it was a timed race. So normally, like on a regular 5K, I don't care, but that one's like. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go, and he was like, what? Are you gonna leave me? And I was like, oh, no, I guess not. And I stayed, but I was always like, was that the right choice? Like, should I have stayed with him? Like, walked? I mean, he was fine. He wasn't like dying or anything, but he was just needed to walk for a little bit. And we go back and forth because I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm a jerk, but then maybe I'm not. I don't know. So I don't blame him or think like he's an asshole necessarily, but I could also see how that could be an asshole thing to do. So I'm open-minded. I know. I'm sorry. Sorry, Steven. No, I didn't leave him behind. I wanted to, though, which doesn't make it much better. But I've since then softened up quite a bit. So thanks to him, actually, most likely. Thank you, JB. JB says her hormones might have been acting up. Yeah, whatever that means. I guess there wasn't enough pumpkin seeds on the trail to balance it out. Oh, by the way, I also sent, if you remember, I sent a link. And I can put it also in the comments of the last video, but the seed cycling thing that we were talking about, I looked it up. Now, again, like this is just conflicting evidence, so it doesn't mean that I'm right or she's wrong or vice versa necessarily, but I found a lot of places talking about seed cycling no testing has been done to prove or disprove that it works. So it's like based on a hypothesis, and there's no scientific evidence that it does anything, but eating a bunch of seeds isn't going to hurt you. So that was sort of the consensus with the seed cycling hormonal stuff that we were discussing last time.
Boofing.
Yeah, she was just looking for seeds. Got distracted. Oh, man. You guys are funny. Oh, it's $4,000? Yeah, that sounds about right. Here, climb up this mountain. Okay, for $4,000. What? I thought nature was free. No, not anymore, baby. Not in this lifetime. Okay, let's now listen to the other one, the DJ. And if it's boring, we'll turn it off. How about that? I think it should be interesting. It's going to talk about religion, I think, a little bit. And aliens. No, simulation theory. So, could be interesting, I suppose. You know who is talking about aliens? Medical medium. Ugh! I hate him so much. Katie, I need to move you. I can't see my board. I can't see the board, Katie. I want to throw up. Hold on. The medical medium, he said that he's like, I'm going to share my abduction story soon. I'm like, oh no, this guy can't stop. Okay, anyways, back to it. Now we're on episode 323 of Rachel chatting with, I think his name's Asan, the DJ, about all the things, our intention for tour, going through breakups, simulation theory, and social constructs. Now, Asan, he was at Rise conference in Austin, the one that I attended virtually. And she would talk to him throughout the sessions and stuff. So she really tries to incorporate, like how Jack is incorporated as like a character in the whole saga. Excuse me, Asan was for the live events. So if you've been to Rise, you probably remember him.
Well, guys, you're in for a treat, or the weirdest podcast you've ever listened to. I thought it would be fun to...
And this one is from September 20th, so recent.
Bring my dear friend Asan onto the show to chat. Those of you who have been to a Rise conference before know Asan as Asan the DJ. And you have danced to his music, you've laughed at his jokes, you know that he is as much a part of the structure of one of our events as I am. And as we prepare for tour, which we kick off in about 3 weeks now, thought it would be fun to have him come on and chat and catch up and talk about the shows and what we're putting together. But even more than that, I just thought it'd be cool to bring on my friend and have a real conversation. So it isn't an interview, it's a chat. And it's very much the exact kind of conversation that Asan and I have when we're together, which goes...
Maybe Asan was the one who's like, I'm looking for a partner and I don't know how to do it. And she's like, write it down in your journal. Look at my life. It's perfect. He's like, oh my God, you're so right.
All over the place. We talk about breaking up with someone. We talk about social constructs like marriage or believing that you have to go to college or whatever other ideology that we buy into because it's the way that we were raised. We talk about unconscious bias and how it's written into the algorithm and the code. And we do, yes, absolutely get into a conversation about simulation theory. All of that happens before we actually remember to talk about tour. So if you want to hear us chat.
She literally talked for 2 hours on Lisa Bilyeu's podcast before she mentioned the tour. It's like, that's your job to promote this tour. And yet here we are.
Anything and everything. This is the episode to listen to while you do something else. But this is my chat with Asan, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed getting to catch up with my friend. Hi, I'm Rachel Hollis, and this is my podcast.
The amount of times I have to click fast forward in this intro in my car. Oh, look at the kitty, pull my hand. Oh. It's like a 45-second intro because it's like 1, 2, 3. It's still going on. 3 15-second skips.
The intention behind wanting to have a tour in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is that I
Wait, hold on. Well, that wasn't the beginning of a sentence. Let me go back just to make sure.
This podcast. The intention behind wanting to have a tour in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is that I I personally am missing community. I'm missing community. And so I figure if I'm missing community, then maybe other people are as well.
Yeah.
And there's like the most.
Oh yeah, you're not going to hear from Asan for quite a while. So if you're wondering who he is, what he's about, we're not going to know for quite some time.
Amazing connection happens not when you meet someone and you're like, oh, you look like me, you think like me, you vote like me, but when you meet someone that you're like, oh, you too.
Yeah.
Like you're also doing this thing that I'm trying to do. You're also dreaming of this other. You're also like kind of not sure what to do with your life now. You're also, what is it? C.S. Lewis, the most powerful words in the English language are me too.
Yeah.
And I think that when you get
The most powerful words in the English language that I came up with are "still I rise." Okay, sorry.
Yeah, they're in a community and you find people that have similarities to you. Number one, it makes you feel not so alone. But it also means that, I don't know, I feel like it gives you like such a boost. It gives you power. You're like, okay, hell yeah, let's do this. Now you have someone you can.
Also, just for the record, when I did the online Rach Talk thing, which was like a part of the ticket, buying a ticket to the Rach Talk live online class, I'm almost positive every single person was white, a white woman, at least for the people who had their cameras on. I did not have my camera on. But everyone that I could see their picture was a white woman between 35 and 60, probably, which I would imagine is her demo and has always been her demo.
When it's hard, it's like as a parent of a toddler, then you meet another mom who's a parent of a toddler. You're like, oh girl, call me if you start crying over potty training. Like, I'll get you. It's incredible when you think about the fact that we did. I want to say this for people who are listening who may not know this. I'll do an intro so that they know who you are.
Gotcha.
But you and Jack.
He's like, gotcha, because they don't know what the hell I'm doing here and why I'm here, and I actually don't know what I'm doing here either.
So the three of us on this call have been at every Rise conference since the very first one.
Check this.
Also, okay, sorry, I need to keep stopping it, but like, not that you can't hire men as your support system and like people who help you on tour, but there's women DJs, there's women videographers. Hello, we exist. Not to say that you should discriminate against men when hiring, but you're as a women empowering conference, and especially about women doing things that the boys can do. Like, I always like to see women crews as well, and it's surprising that she hires men to be the DJ or to be the videographer, and then reference them and talk to them all the time. Like, she has a female staff, or she has used to. I don't know if she still does, but she had but it seems like she really highlights the men, which is sort of just something of note to note. Bye, Carol.
I still got my my water bottle.
Oh, I love that bottle. That's so cool. I forgot about that one. Yeah, it's incredible to think, 2017, we have this crazy idea to do this event. Sammy and I are on an airplane. We're talking about, literally the idea was we all went to the same church. And I'm not sure if everybody knows this story, but we all went to the same church. And Sammy and I really wanted to throw an event that was not based in faith. Because we were like, well, we have incredible community in our church, and we get to come together and have dinners and go to events and do all these things as a group. But what does it look like if you're not part of our church? What if you're Muslim? What if you're Jewish? What if you're atheist? And maybe you wouldn't feel comfortable coming.
Again, we're 5 minutes in. I have not heard this man say one word.
Into a space that has a religious, foundation.
Sure,
so we wanted to create a space that felt like, you said, like that agape love, that felt like that community and that sense of fun and that connection. But it didn't matter who you were, what you believed in, what you looked like, you were welcome here. Yeah. And so we literally, on that first plane ride, Sammy was like, maybe we could get a song. Yeah. And I didn't even know you. You were the drummer. Like, that's how I was like, the drummer is a DJ? Yeah. And it's so funny because from the very first event, that sort of back and forth between the two of us became that foundation of the event, which if you've been to a Rise conference before, you know what we're talking about and you know who Hassan is. And they're probably tripping out right now to hear like how we
Let him talk. Let him talk. He hasn't spoken yet. Katie, thank you. Says, please be a volunteer when you go to tour, Kia. Yeah, I really love giving my labor away for free in exchange for, a $25 ticket. However, I will say that some of the ticket prices, when they add up, with like taxes and such, it goes from like $25 to like $100 real quick. Just saying, that's not necessarily her thing, but anytime I buy a ticket, I'm like, oh, okay, $25. And then all of a sudden by the end, it's like, how did this become $75? So I guess it could be good in that case to be a volunteer, but I'm not feeling volunteerism anymore. If I'm going to volunteer, I'm going to do it for some cause I care about, not to help another person, woman or man, get richer on my behalf.
Their building's bigger than yours, and their furniture's nicer than yours.
Dave said it first.
This is just stupid.
Agreed. Okay, back to Rachel. Thank you, Katie.
Suffice.
Talking about simulation theory.
Yeah, simulation theory. Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredible to imagine how far it's come, and like here we are now for the first time going to different cities and trying this new experiment. I'm so excited, and it really is because like it's that community thing. We sent out an email because for each city we were looking for a couple volunteers. Literally, we just want people to greet. Like when you come in the door, we want someone who's going to love on the women who are coming in, the women in like the three.
Why don't you hire somebody to do that? That's a job, Rachel. That's what they call a career, or at least a one-night career. Greeters at Walmart, they get paid. Why can't your ladies get paid? I'm just confused. To greet people at the door, pay them.
Dudes that those women dragged along to the event. Yeah. We wanted people who could like love on them and like say hello and make them feel comfortable. You know how we do. Yeah. And so we had sent out this call for volunteers, and not only did we get such an incredible response, but it's like our volunteers who have volunteered at every event we've ever, it's so the cool. Same women. And they like bought a ticket to the event, but still want to volunteer. So I'm so excited. Are you feeling excited? How are you feeling about tour?
Wait, they bought a ticket and they have to volunteer? What the fuck? Rachel, you better refund them.
This situation is a red flag.
You better give them a perk of some sort and not a fucking journal. Please.
I am super excited. I think there's something truly special about like those spaces that you help to curate. Like I think the experiences that happen there are like crazy. Like
he's finally speaking, everybody, at 7 minutes. 7 minutes and 20 seconds. I mean, we did like a minute intro of her talking about what happened to dinosaurs.
What happened to dinosaurs?
So
they're so dope. Like it's so beautiful. The energy of it is like unmatched. Like it truly is like. The vision that you set out with Sammy on the plane, like truly came to fruition. Like there's the energy is unmatched. Like everyone coming together from different walks of life and stuff like that. And I think it's important to go to these cities where like, cause I think of these cities all the time where like just people who are, from a smaller town who don't run into a lot of people who are very different from them, coming together at a place where they're going to experience people either who have flown in from other places or what you offer, even people that are somewhat close to them, but they're all attracted to the space that you're curating. And so they're all gathering around this like mutual interest of this experience. And I think it's so cool to have those people have a chance to meet each other and to become friends and to do all that. Like, it's beautiful. Like there's not a lot of intentional, opportunities to do that are
These comments are so funny. Yeah, it seems like she's like tell them what I said to say, honey. Tell them what this reminds me of that Heidi video where she's like, I never forced you guys to work out, right? Tell the cameraman, tell the stranger man that I don't force you to work out, right? Yeah, it seems a little bit forced.
And that are also like especially geared for a female audience, like that. We need more of that. Like I think that's so cool. It's so
we
dope.
have so much fun, and I think it's worth asking because people who haven't been to an event before, they see the video of like everybody dancing, everybody jumping up, and they're like, what the hell is going on at this event? Like, why are these people? And I know it might seem weird to combine like dancing to Beyonce and personal development, but it really works.
Of course.
One,
That's what everyone does, though. That's what every girl boss event is like. That's why she fits so well into the MLM space, because you go to Beachbody, they got tunes pumping. Actually, someone sent this to me, and I really, it's from a group that I really like. It's like a nonprofit group that was set up. It's called Seek Safely. Hold on. And it's a group basically that came out after the guy, James Arthur Ray Sweat Lodge thing happened. And those three people were killed. Many more were hospitalized. And one of the victims' families wanted to create a nonprofit to help people who are interested in spirituality, interested in self-help, do it more safely. It's a really cool nonprofit. We're going to have some sort of collab in the future, but they have a list. They have like a good checklist of like, is a live event set up to make you like buy or manipulate you? And some of the things on the list, like beware of, she's describing right here as like the reason why it's so good. So let me find it. It was like, I think we can kind of sort of like look at it and see, because she's like, dancing, a lot of physical activity. If the room is really cold, if the hours are really, now this is not a Rise where like the hours are like, 12-hour days, 15-hour days, sometimes not her necessarily, but these self-help groups go forever. And they're like, it's like Tony Robbins is like hours and hours. And I was like, wow, I get so much value. It's like, no, they're trying to wear you down. So let me find it, and we can go through it too. But okay, so first, kind of not red flag, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're being changed long term just because you're dancing and moving your body and feeling good for an hour. Doesn't mean that that's like going to change your life.
Because it makes it fun. Two, because it keeps your energy up. And when your energy's up, you're so much more prone to like belief in yourself, having courage, talking to a stranger, the whole thing. But we also, that was just us. We just wanted to have a good time. We wanted to play music. We wanted to joke around. We want people to laugh. We want people to cry. Like, it's the full spectrum of everything. So I think if there is one misconception about the events that we throw, it's that they see people dancing in their like seats or jumping up and down. And they're like, oh, what are these? Bro, a song's just playing something sick and people want to move and it works. It's just a vibe. It's a party, but it's also teaching and connecting. And I'm so excited.
Is she like trying to claim that like she's the first person who's ever had music at an event before? It's like, look at any event. Look at prom. Like, what do you do at prom? You play music. Look at any wedding. You play music and it's a fun environment. And she also has alcohol at these events. So it's like, you got all the steps, but you didn't come up with the concept of dancing and feeling good. Okay, so here's the website, Seek Safely. Highly recommend if you have people that are like, this might not be a subtle way to tell them like, look at this. But if you have people that are involved in like self-help and are sort of going off the deep end and don't know how to talk to them, this is a good resource to look to. But if you have to sign if asked to sign a waiver without time to review the contents, being told it's just standard and being discouraged from asking any questions, if there's a physical challenge as part of the program, but no information is offered about medical support in case of an accident. Okay, that's a red flag. So I don't hear that with hers too much, but okay. And then during the event, another red flag, a highly packed schedule with little time to process information. Okay, that sort of sounds like, a Tony Robbins conference. Very short breaks that do not allow adequate time to get a meal, have snacks, use the restroom, or properly hydrate. A locked door or strong discouragement from leaving the room at any time. A day that begins very early, ends late, and interferes with normal sleep needs. If breathing techniques or guided meditation is used that cause a sense of disorientation or confusion. I wonder if she's going to have breath work / meditation, probably some sort of meditation, because she did at Rise a lot of meditations of that. Feeling uncomfortable about highly emotional revelations individuals may be encouraged to make in public. Now, this is, I think, going to be a part of this. Like, Rachel tries to match Tony Robbins in the sense where she's like, at Rise conference at Austin, the most recent one, where there was like 40 people in the audience. She's like, who did you want to love more, your dad or your mom? And that's something that he does too. And it's totally invasive, has nothing to do with running your fucking bakery or whatever business you're running. And, you know, first of all, if you're running like an Herbalife, you're not running a business. So let's just, you know, it's not an MLM thing. But if you were running a legitimate business, like dealing with your trauma with an unlicensed charlatan is not going to help you. So I do fear that that's what's going to happen at this live event. Okay, atmosphere in the room. If it's cold, I don't know, loud blaring music at the introduction and during breaks, probably so you can't ask questions to like your neighbor, like, is this crazy or what? A cheerleading pep rally atmosphere with volunteers dancing, jumping around, pumping up the energy. Again, these are all red flags that this group has come up with. I mean, that sounds like what she's describing. Okay, speaker's behavior relies heavily on testimonials to establish credibility. The success of the speaker is hyped, encouraging emulation. Sounds familiar? Speaker repeatedly asks for a group response with certain words or phrases. The speaker constantly repeats key phrases. Made for more. I mean, that's one of them. Limited access to the speaker to ask questions. Okay, little reference to distinctions between opinions, speculation, or scientific research is offered. I think she says, like, scientifically, the law of attraction. It's like, no. Speaker dismisses or belittles professional credentials and mainstream education. I mean, in that Kathy video, she said, you don't need to be certified. No. Not saying that's what she's going to say here, but, you know, sounds a little like she could go down that path. Now, I don't think she does this too much. This is sort of more like the hard sales pitch people, the high ticket item people, where it's constant reminders about additional products that can be purchased, books, CDs, other programs, emphasis on scarcity, only a limited number left, or something heavily discounted, only if purchased immediately, a no refund or limited refund policy. So I don't think she really is part of that, but you know, a strong combination of sensory deprivation tactics and exploration of highly charged emotional experiences. These tactics are used to break down a person, creating vulnerability, suggestibility, and compliance. These same tactics are used to torture enemies to extract information. So, not saying that this event is specifically going to do that, but just when she talks about some of the things that are so exciting about, you know, what's to come at these things, it's just good to keep in mind, like, it's a slippery slope. So, you know, having a breakthrough, I agree. Heidi Powell's events definitely sounds like more in line with all of those things. And I think we should bring up that list more often. But okay, back to Rach talking about possibly dangerous event.
And I have an idea.
Yeah, let's do it.
I have an idea that I want to hear your thoughts on / present to the community for the first time. So for as long as we've done these events, we've always had a handful of songs that are like our songs. So like classic is the Macklemore song. We've danced to that song at every single Rise conference we've ever done. And of course it's going to like, we have to, because, you know, this is our thing. This is my song choice. I love it. But I thought, wouldn't it be so fun if you and I came up with like 6 songs or 7 songs, I don't know, that pump you up, that make you feel empowered. You know, this is your expertise, so I'll let you dream on this. But at every single city stop, we let the audience choose their theme song for the night.
That'd be great.
So we're for like Birmingham, okay, here's what's up. Asan is going to play you a sample of 7 different songs, and based on applause, y'all are going to choose.
You have 2 hours with her. This is a 2-hour event, right? So it's like, this is probably going to take 10 minutes, okay, to get everyone to play the 7 songs, cheer, decide which one it is, then play the song, then dance. So now we're at like, you know, an hour and 50 minutes. I don't think I'm going to like have some great epiphany in the remaining minutes. Like, is this really important for adults to do, especially if we're you know, pinning this as like a life-changing networking entrepreneurship event? I don't know. Again, it feels like we're infantilizing women.
Your theme song. Because what we know, having been to an event, is that those songs become a part of your psyche. When you have an emotional experience, when you set a goal, when you get energized, and a song's playing, for the rest of your life, that song comes on and you're like, okay, let's
100%,
go.
100%.
So yeah, I thought that would be cool if each city got to pick their own theme song And then wouldn't it be interesting, like, oh, Birmingham went old school. They wanted like 90s hip hop. And Charleston was all about something from today. And these three cities pick Beyonce because she's a queen and whatever. Okay, so let's think on that. Let's think on what songs we could present to everybody. Because I feel like that'll be a fun moment at the start of the show to like hype people up. Is like, what's your jam? We have to have a full spectrum. Like we've got to have
Okay, I feel like that was the most basic ass idea I've ever heard.
something older. We have to be able to find out like regionally, like what was the number one song in Alabama of the 90s or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we need to research.
I mean,
I have an idea. Is it Sweet Home Alabama? Probably.
how it works. Or maybe there's like, you know, if there's a sports team that's really popular nearby and they have like a song, because it'd be great to remember when we were in Toronto and we did the best of Canadians and we just played all Canadian artists. For
like the amount of love for Nickelback in Toronto was crazy.
Are so right. Like,
it's crazy, guys. Everyone picked Burn the Bridges as They Burn. Or what was it? Burn the Bridges as We Run. Whatever her song was that she co-wrote with those artists in Nashville. It's like every city wanted it. Oh, she just puts it in and lists and goes, I think the applause was the loudest there. I think the Bridges Burning song, that's the one I think we're going to go with.
No offense to our Canadian brethren and sisters. That was shocking.
Yeah.
That was shocking.
Yeah.
Rachel.
We have a lot of really great friends from Canada.
How dare you?
What wasn't it like? Look at this photograph. Those women lost their shit.
Yeah.
Like they're still screaming. Who knew?
And not even screaming at Nickelback, the band on stage, like just literally me pressing play on a Nickelback song and they're losing their minds.
That was so funny.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I forgot about that. Oh my word. And we got to give it up because Canada had
Canada. I like Canada better.
Yeah, Canada had a lot of performers that I didn't even realize were Canadian. Yeah, they had, because you just kept going. I was like,
what about Avril? Canada's got a lot of good artists. Okay, how dare you? As a former Canadian who now lives in the United States, Albanese says, "Is Rach ever gonna let Asan talk?" The answer is no. The answer is
no.
Will Asan talk?
Bold-faced lie.
Asan's gonna talk a lot.
Bold-faced lie.
I think we've reached the point of the show where
There's Colleen. I try my hardest to not work.
same girl. I ain't gonna lie. I try my hardest not to work too. Let's check in with before we go on. Let's check in with our favorite homie, Lisa. Lisa, have you changed your routine? What's going on? Where are you updated? What's going on now with you? Where are you?
I'm outside the Cheesecake Factory waiting for it to open.
Okay, she's still there. Hasn't opened yet. Guess it hasn't opened yet in in England. Okay.
certainly we've hit all. You were like, no, let's get Shania. Let's get Bieber.
Let's get Drake.
Mendes. Let's get Drake.
The biggest artist in the world.
Yeah. Is
Canada.
Drake the biggest artist in the world?
I think that is actually Bad Bunny right now. Bad Bunny's gigantic.
Okay, wait a minute. Are you a movie guy?
Yeah.
Do you like movies?
I
Have
do.
you seen Bullet Train?
I have not yet. Is it good?
Asan, it's so good. And I didn't know Bad Bunny was in it.
Yeah.
It was a character, and then my son told me that that was Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, important for all listeners. Frankly, if you're still hanging after the conversation we had today, you're going to love Bullet Train too.
Exactly.
It's very like Tarantino vibes.
Okay.
Not fully, but like Kill Bill. Please go see it. I had never even heard of it. I just wanted to go to the movies. I'm not going to lie. I wanted to go to the movies. I wanted to have a cocktail. My kids were with their dad. I was like, let's do it. It's Brad Pitt.
She always wants to tell you about the cocktails. There's nothing wrong with that, but I find it very suspicious that she always mentions cocktails when she has called herself an alcoholic. I still find that hard to wrap my head around without her saying like, I've decided that I can handle it and I'm okay. Like it's just been, I'm an alcoholic or I'm a former alcoholic, whatever she said on Oprah stage. And then now she's like, cocktails. I don't know. It just bothers me.
Sorry, I'm a 39-year-old woman. I'm not made of stone. It's Brad Pitt. It's so well done. I laughed. I cried. The action is phenomenal. And the writing is incredible. And it's like that guy's first screenplay ever. So screw him because it's too good to be the first thing that ever gets made of yours. So
that's crazy.
Oh, highly recommend.
Is this your favorite era of Brad?
Great support for fellow creators. Fuck you. You just have to put out 10 books before you can be recognized like me.
I do not give a fuck.
She does not give a fuck about Bad Bunny or the screenwriter of this movie.
Do you have another favorite era of Brad Pitt?
I mean, I'm sorry, like Legend of the Fall into, you know what? I can't even choose because I was about to say into Fight Club. Those are two completely different eras. Remember Fight Club when he had that stomach? Come on. You know what? Can he do wrong? I don't think it's possible.
No, he's great.
He's never done anything wrong. I mean, I feel
didn't they have a fight on a plane recently or they came out with that? Brad Pitt and Angelina? I don't know what his role in it was, but that's sort of wrong, right?
That breakup with Angelina was maybe not the best. But in terms of movies, did you see Maverick? Did you see Top Gun?
Yeah, I totally did. Yeah.
How good was that?
So good. I've seen it twice. It's really good. I enjoyed it a lot, actually.
Can we look? Okay, controversial topic, controversial statement.
Yeah.
Fucking Tom Cruise.
He's a psycho in like the best way possible.
In the best way possible. Also, like, openly the leader of a very dangerous, hurtful cult. Like, everybody knows. Nobody's confused. They're probably going to, like, sue me for saying that. Everybody knows. And damn it, you're just like, he's too good.
Can I join, though? You know who's also a member of that cult? Grant Cardone, everybody. At least he was, formerly. Probably still is. Interesting.
Yeah.
He's too good.
He's real good at making, like, really good movies.
Yeah. And if you think about it, there was a long period of time where we didn't hear from Tom. And then he was like, okay, I'm just going to bring back Mission Impossible, but I'm going to do all my own stunts. And they're going to be so insane that you're just going to still love me. Like, he went crazy very publicly for a while. Like, remember he was jumping up and down on Oprah's stage and like Katie Holmes and the whole.
Where have you been, Rachel? Do you remember that Tom Cruise, he was on Oprah? What was this, 1997? My God, everyone knows this already. Do you remember? I was like, stop. Thank you, Beth, for that. Thank you very much for the Shiba dog with sparkles in their eyes saying, my hero, my hero. Beth Peters. Okay. For that, I will say about Tom Cruise.
This person is not okay.
And Rachel, actually.
Me.
This person is not okay. Who?
Me.
Thanks, Beth.
And I was like, this man's insane. And here, I hate myself. But I saw Maverick and I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
This is so good.
Yeah, it's when you when I look at someone like Tom Cruise, like Scientology aside, like I look at someone like that and I'm like, I'm so glad he's using his like insanity for things that people enjoy. You know what I mean? Because he could totally be using his insanity to do all kinds of things. Like he could probably take over the world if he wanted to.
That we know of.
That we know of.
Yeah, we don't know. Behind the scenes, they could be using that level of obsession for all kinds of stuff. But that, honestly, Top Gun, it's real good. And the writing of being able to like have little nods and winks to the original movie, but also do something new and different and fresh. Ugh, so good. Hurts my feelings.
They let him, and let him is a stretch. But I like that he was old in this movie. Like they let him be his age and not like pretend like he's like the young hotshot guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they've been doing for so long.
And honestly, his body looks phenomenal for the age that he is. But if you watch it again.
I thought we weren't talking about people's bodies anymore. We were sick of it. We don't want to be judging our bodies, I thought. Rachel, come on.
Please laugh with me in spirit at the scene on the beach where they're playing football.
Oh my goodness.
Because his body, I give him credit. But if you watch that again, please note that every time it cuts to him, like anything below his nipples is in shadow.
Yeah.
It's in shadow. They're like, we are not getting tight on this.
Yeah.
We're not getting direct. Cut to Miles Teller, like dead light, like 6-pack abs, looking young, looking hot. Back to Tom, shadow, like shadow for no reason. It's so funny how they cut that. Yeah. Because it's like, none of us want to say, Tom.
If you haven't seen the movie, which I haven't, none of this is relevant or makes sense other than her talking about how hot Tom Cruise is, which, okay, fine. That's great. But like, I thought she was like above that and like, well, looks aren't everything and it's all about health and whatever. So yeah, we all know that's bullshit, but it just becomes like, if that's your stance on things, you start talking about how hot dudes are and about like, oh, their 6-pack abs and stuff. It kind of shows how much you really do care about that, because if the guy wasn't ripped, that wouldn't be like complimented. Like, oh, he's like, an average weight. Oh, I love it. It's like, I mean, I don't care if you think a guy is hot or a woman's hot or whatever, but then you can't also say like, I never care about that. I never, ever, ever judge someone on their body. It's like, yes, you do. Look at this.
Cruise's body looks good for a 6-year-old man.
Yeah.
We just all want to believe that Tom Cruise's body looks good for Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and so does Tom Cruise, for the record. Like, I think he'd be miserable if you said.
Now imagine if Rachel was talking about a woman here. If Tom was Tammy Cruise and she was using the same language and the same nonchalantness, it would not be okay. So as much as I don't know. I feel like, and I don't know. I do it too, I guess. But like, if you're someone who's, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm being too judgy, but it just seems a lot of talk about his body from someone who says that they don't look at looks or that it's all about what's inside. I don't know.
He was good for a 60-year-old.
Right. Well, also, is he 60? All of a sudden, I was like, maybe he's not that old.
He's probably close to that, I would imagine.
Man. It's ridiculous.
That's got to be hard, though. Like, I couldn't imagine being someone like Tom Cruise or The Rock or like basically any woman in Hollywood where like the pressure to look a certain way is so.
Tom Cruise is 60, by the way. I just looked it up.
Heavy on you from every direction. Like, I couldn't even imagine. Like, I'm sure you deal with that to a degree. Like, I'm sure there's like you feel some kind of pressure like to look a certain way, to present yourself a certain way, and like I just couldn't do that.
Hey guys, if you are enjoying,
I'm not enjoying this at all, but I'm going to skip past the Rach Talk Live ad.
And at rate is side hustle, a lot of growth and back to school, but you feel embarrassed to admit it to those people.
All the ads, all the keywords: back to school, woman, mother, ambition, integrity. Come now, buy ticket.
Currently in your circle?
6 everything, 1 hour, $10.
Come build a new one.
Come build new.
You can find out more info in the show notes, and I hope I see you there. It's been a lot of growth and therapy and healing for me to believe that I could record this podcast with you and not be wearing makeup.
Yeah.
To believe that like I still have wisdom and value to offer the world and worth if I'm not with a full blowout and full makeup and all that stuff, because that's just how I came up believing that you were supposed to be. So I think that's still an unraveling that exists inside me that I'm actively working on. On the same token of like what it's like to be an actor or to be a celebrity or to be in that industry. Do you ever watch The Shop? LeBron James's show on HBO. It's like my favorite show ever. I've seen all the episodes.
It's a great show.
So good. I was watching the last season. Oh, I'm terrible with athletes. Is it Carmelo Anthony?
Carmelo Anthony? Yeah, he's a basketball player.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, that sounds right. And the episode that he was on, there was him and then another, a woman who was in the WNBA.
Okay.
And they were talking about emotional health and mental health. And he was like, oh, I have a theory. Every professional athlete is depressed.
Jesus. Oh my God. Oh, Tom Brady, I mean, he's going through a divorce possibly. He looks pretty happy most of the time. Okay, how does this have to do with her makeup though? Her blowout? Like, I don't get it. You're recording audio.
Like, you will not convince me anything else. And they were like, whoa, unpack that, explain. And he was like, you do, if you want to be the best, if you want to be in the upper echelon, if you want to do this work, you're going to do the same thing over and over and over every single day. You're going to do the same routine. You're going to eat the same things. You're going to go to the same place. You got to go to bed. You got to do. And if you work your hardest, if you stay in this routine that's monotonous, if you work your absolute hardest, if you win it all, the second you win, guess what? Tomorrow you got to wake up and you start doing that routine again because you got to be ready for next season. And he was explaining what that felt like. And I never thought, because every other athlete in that circle was like, as soon as he said it, they were all like, yep, that's the truth. This is not fun in the way people, like if you've ever seen that documentary of
I feel like Rachel's take is like her whole thing, even in the thing with Kathy that we watched last week, the Kathy Heller, Toilegate conspiracy thing where she was saying like celebrities don't get to say their true opinions anymore because people on the internet don't wholeheartedly believe every single thing that they say, and sometimes they say mean things to them, and how somehow that's a tragedy and a travesty. And she was also sticking up for celebrities who get roasted or get negative comments. And I'm not saying she's wrong. I think people who say like you should kill yourself or whatever, yeah, that is wrong. But I think people who just disagree and put it in a comment section don't necessarily need to be shamed completely to the ends of the earth, because people are allowed to have negative comments. You're putting yourself out there. Any piece of work can be critiqued, and because you're your own work, sorry, that's your choice. So her whole take is like celebrities, like how she sees herself, I believe, are, in need of more empathy. She took the train of like the cancel culture. People were just dogpiling on me and I am the poor victim. That seems to be her new path moving forward, that, rich celebrities really need to be empathized with much more than they are, because they're just all depressed too. It's like, if you're all depressed, then, just spread the wealth and that probably will make you happier. Because obviously having a big mansion or whatever, according to Rachel, isn't working. So try something else. Try sharing the money with us. How about that? So we can all afford to get health care. That's all I'm asking. Just give it a shot. It might work.
Brady. His life looks terrible. And he's,
I just said Tom Brady. Okay, wait. What is she going to say about Tom Brady? I did not reach this part of the podcast, so this is all new to me.
Every other athlete in that circle was like, as soon as he said it, they were all like, yep, that's the truth. This is not fun in the way people, like if you've ever seen that documentary of Tom Brady, his life looks terrible. And he's married to a supermodel. Like he just watches game tapes and eats salmon. Like it's the most monotonous, but that's what it is to be the best. And I guess
she's making a lot of assumptions here. And also, he's a father too. He's got kids who I think he cares greatly about, from what I understand. I haven't watched the documentary, but yeah, she eats salmon too, and she doesn't want to. So you're saying that you're boring and depressed secretly? Like, it's very judgmental about like, oh, his life is so boring. It's like, says you. I don't know. I think that's a leap. I didn't see the documentary that she's referring to, but from the outside, I always thought he was a happy person. I don't know.
That like, what you think later in life that,
and also she's very high on this like appearances. Like, just because you're married to a supermodel does not mean that all your problems go away, or that, oh, you are with someone physically attractive, oh well, you should just be thrilled with your life. It's like on the other side of what I just said, he can be depressed even though he's married to someone beautiful. It's like, I don't know, it's so superficial, and she sees things superficially too.
It'll pay off. And I'm not questioning it because they're way cooler than I am, but
well, sports is, and I think a lot of athletes are waking up to this, but sports is probably one of the most brutal industries. I would say even more so than Hollywood, because I feel like at least in Hollywood, there are still opportunities to create lasting value for people beyond what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Like you can create something, you can go off and be in a movie tomorrow that changes the world forever. And so people stamp actors that they like with a a much more lasting sort of transcendent form of value to them. And with athletes, it's much more about what are you doing for me right now? And the moment you leave a team and you're playing for a different team, no one likes you anymore. The moment you blow your knee out and can't play anymore, you're of zero value to the rest of the world. And like, sure, there are some athletes that have lasting legacies, but the bar for that amongst professional athletes is so high. Like you can.
And I know this is like a joke, or like not what you meant by it, but it reminded me, there's a really good documentary. Michael Phelps is a part of it. It's about Olympic athletes who actually like go through real depression. I'm not saying that what she's referring to is not real depression, or, you know, NFL players can't have depression, but, you know, I think have struggled in the medical sense of the word, not like they're bored because they have a routine. But, you know, it really opened my eyes. It came out like 2 years ago or 3 years ago about how a lot of the, you know, the excitement of going to the Olympics, but you're not allowed to make money because it has to be amateur sports, and how like it really came down to money, because once they were out of the sport, or they had to choose between entering a professional, you know, league or group, or, you know, whatever, or stay in the Olympic system, which is like, you know, once you do it, it doesn't mean you have money. So a lot of them, they came out of it after they retired and they were depressed. They had to go back to work. All they have done their whole life is like train for this one thing, and they became depressed. That's a real conversation I think we should all be having. You know, and I think that documentary sparked a lot. That's not this conversation. This was like, oh, you have a hot girlfriend, you should just get over it. Like, and I wish there was more depth to it, because what they're dipping their toe in is interesting to me, and is relevant, and is something that I think relates to a lot of people who are successful on the outside, like Rachel, but are suffering on the inside. But it's like, because it's so superficial, we just never get there, and it's disappointing to kind of waste our time tiptoeing around a real issue. Anyways.
Actor and just have a small role in a commercial that like changes like I'm like Flo from Progressive or something like that. Like you can be that, like, and no shade to Flo, because she's hilarious, and like what they've built is like one of the best advertising campaigns of all time.
Yes.
But like you could be, you know, one of the greatest athletes in the world, and if you don't live up to a certain level of potential that completes the narrative that people have in their head about you, then like you're of zero value. And so it's like, it's extremely brutal. Like and a lot of athletes are waking up to that. There's a lot of earlier retirements than there have been before, because people are getting the value that they would like out of professional sports, and then they're done, because it's like, why continue to damage my body if like it's not bringing the type of value that they want, you know?
Well, I think when you see those stories, like,
we should also be talking about CTE as well in football players, because that's another thing that really opened my eyes, is learning about that, and how so many of the people in the NFL, that aren't like Tom Brady status, that are the lower teams, the practice squads, they're getting their heads smacked every day. And then later on in life, like they're struggling with all these impairments. And then people like Dr. Amen, who we were just talking about, you know, earlier, Rachel's brain scan doctor, you know, he will say, oh, I can check your CTE and I can look in the scan, and he'll rip you off. This one guy, it got worse. He spent like, you know, something insane, like $100,000 on, you know, Dr. Amen's CTE assistance, and it did nothing for him. That's another sports thing that I think we should talk about too, as like, you know, not really Rachel Hollis needs to talk about that, but something that I feel very inspired by. It's like, what's the worth of putting yourself through that later in life? There's many cases where people don't end up doing well after the NFL. But again, we probably won't get there. It's like, she's making bank.
There's a documentary. It's incredible about Tony Hawk. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's so good. But you don't even understand. He's one example. But I never could have understood how destroyed his body is.
Oh, yeah. It's nuts.
Brutalized. And he's not even a football player who's getting slammed into again and again and again. Uh-huh. And these athletes are literally destroying their bodies in order to perform. And it's exactly what you said. The second that they stop being relevant, nobody cares anymore. That team doesn't care. Those fans don't care. Mm-hmm. What kind of crazy existence is this, like chasing worth, right? If I can just do the right thing, if I can just throw this touchdown, if I could just, but if something happens to you and you're hurt, you're screwed. It is so wild.
Yeah. You have to, I mean, that's why.
So solutions? No? Okay. Just something. I mean, I don't have a solution either, but I'm not a empowerment, life-changing coach. So, I would like to know what she thinks we should do about this.
Important to find internal sources of value and validation, because no matter what career you're in, if you're looking for it only externally, like, you're going to be let down. And I think athletes are just like a hyper version of that, like a hyper magnetized version of that,
Yeah. It's so real too. The idea that we're taught societally that it's what's outside us. Yeah. It's how much money can you make? It's what's the new thing that you can buy. It's how do you look? It's who are your friends? Where do you live? All of those things. And it's all fake. The only thing, really, honestly, it's what's inside you. The only thing that's ever going to make you happy, whole, complete, content, any of those emotions that you're pursuing, it's always going to be what is inside yourself. And nobody wants to hear that, because that's the hardest work there is to do. It's so much easier to have a drink. It's so much easier to go buy something that makes you feel good. It's so much easier to go spend time with a friend who's going to hype you up than it is to go meet with a therapist again this week and unpack your shit again this week. And it's slow. It's not fast. It's not, it doesn't numb you. You got to feel every single second of it. But that's the only real, authentic, how do we get to be who we really want to be?
Do you want to take a vote to nixay this conversation, or do you want to keep listening? I am bored as well. It's been did you see this documentary about Tony Hawk? Did you see the documentary about Tom Brady? Did you see that Tom Cruise is hot? Okay, it's sort of boring. I think this is why I've sort of turned it off before as well. And him going, yes. We can move on to something else. And this is what it really looks like. I need to set up my camera. I can do my phone to be a second camera, and I can have a tarot cam. I think that would be a good addition to the show. Let's see. Nix it. Can we fast forward to the tour talk? I'm bored. Yeah, me too. Okay. Let's go forward.
Everyone cheers for them or whatever. Right? I think most people will stay inside of something because they don't want to be the bad guy.
Kind of coming back to mindfulness, sort of being in the moment and thinking of yourself as having future moments.
Let's see.
And setting yourself up with the commitments that you make now to be able to show up well in the future, in a moment-to-moment basis, I think is important. And no lifetime commitment, I think, is worth sacrificing that. You know what I mean? If those issues arise.
Well, I mean, I think it's going back to sort of what was the intention at the beginning of that. Your relationship, in my past relationship, the intention was pure and honest and this is what we're doing. And in both of our cases, it sounds like getting to a point where you realize something was not working or not.
Okay, now she's talking about Dave, I'm assuming.
Right anymore, and trying harder and doubling down and what can we do and let's unpack this and all those things. But if you've honestly done what you can do to make this thing work, but in your heart of hearts that it's just not right, I think most people will stay inside of something because they don't want to be the bad guy, because they don't want to hurt this person that they love, because they don't want the opinions of other people to come out.
Most people won't get up at 4 a.m. Most people won't get divorced publicly to their husband named Dave Hollis.
And it's a really, without question, the most difficult decision I've ever made, the hardest time period, not even done yet, still a hard time period. And I wouldn't trade it for anything because it was the right decision for me. Yeah. And I think that gets so much flack, especially for women, because you're not supposed to make a choice like that.
Says
that
who?
Is not a societal norm for a woman to decide, you know what? This is
Girl, you've been in a bubble too long. Divorce is okay now.
The right thing. I don't feel like this is healthy for me. And if it's not healthy for me, it cannot be healthy for my children. And so I'm going to make this decision in spite of what other people think of it. And be willing to deal with all of the fallout that comes from that. Because even in the shit, even in like the process of walking through hell, it's still better because at least it's honest.
Yeah, it's honest and it's compassionate to, I think, both people in the situation, in the relationship. Because if you truly love someone that you're in a relationship with, and you
are you even thinking about someday when you date again? Is that scary? Is that, because when I broke up, I was like, I will never talk to, I don't even want to see another man. Like, F all this, screw love. Like, I wasn't making a decision because I wanted someone else. I was making a decision because I wanted to choose myself.
Yeah, I hear you. Where I'm at now is like,
but then 1 year later, I was making content about him and it benefited me greatly.
The idea, I think there's a lot we've gotten to. Is this still in concept? Love going to...
I'm sorry, I have nothing against this guy, but I don't really care what he has to say.
That is...
Growing up, and everything was about this idea of getting married.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first started dating Kez, I was like, oh, wait, do we have to get married? Like, if I want to be with this person, are we supposed to get married? Because you know the culture that we come from. Like, that's so ingrained in my head. And I actually think... it's so beautiful to be in a relationship where both of us are choosing to be here.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot express enough.
Wait, what? You and Dave weren't choosing to be together? He forced you? What?
How this is not everybody's story, but that when you're in a really long-term marriage, it starts to feel a bit like we're here because we married each other.
Right.
And the idea that both of us are here and we're in this thing because we choose to be, like, every day I wake up and I choose you, and every day he wakes up and he's like, I choose you, and we're doing this thing together.
Yeah.
Is so beautiful and is so different than how I was raised to believe a relationship was supposed to be. And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if you're in your 80s and you're like,
I'm so confused. Like, what? Like, you and Dave weren't choosing to be together and to also have marriage conferences about how amazing your marriage was. Like, the narrative has changed so much. It's so crazy the way she talks about Dave now, like as if, like, you know, for years he had been hiding in the background, and then you know, she's like, by the way, we got divorced, just, you know, sorry, it wasn't working. Like, he was front and center until the very end of, you know, their relationship. I wrote it down, I think, in my Rachel Hollis timeline. They talked about, dang, no, I didn't put it in there. There was one, it was like, you know, like in April or something. They got divorced in June, or they announced it. They talked about it in May. In April, they were doing like podcast episodes about how their makeout sessions had gotten better, which is like their sex life had improved since quarantine. So it wasn't like, again, like she's rewriting history like, oh yeah, we didn't like each other for years. It's like, what? This is so crazy to me. Like, of course, like, oh, Kez and I are perfect though.
Here choosing you. Like, there's no contract that says I have to be here. There's no, like, none of that is there. It's just this choice. It's like Goldie.
That was the only thing keeping you in the relationship with Dave. Come on. Was the marriage certificate? Really? Come on.
And Kurt Russell. I mean, this is, or Oprah and Stedman. Like, they all had it figured out, and none of the rest of us did. Do you remember because how old are you?
I'm 31.
31. Okay,
Same.
so I'm a little older, and I don't even know if this is going to translate. But do you remember how, like, in the 90s, 2000s, like, the fact that Oprah and Stedman weren't married, the fact that Kurt and Goldie weren't married, it was so controversial.
Yeah.
Like, these people had been together
Kitty.
for like 40 years or 30 years or 20 years. And it was so crazy. It was such a, like, oh my God, Hollywood's mad. Hollywood's just wild that people could be together and not be married.
And you know what's crazy is, like, yeah, I think there is something.
This sounds like Heidi in like the cool girl way. Like, Rachel's like, I don't even care. Like, look at Oprah and Stedman. They're not married. Like, that's what I've always believed in. Meanwhile, being in like a, 20-year marriage. Stop it. Kitty. I can't give you any more space. She's in a, whatever. It was like 18 years or 18 stinking year marriage or something like that, close to that. like, okay, now she's like, I don't even care about marriage. It's like, yeah, well, you've been through one, so now you don't have to be. No one's saying that you have to get married again, you know? But it's almost like Heidi saying, like, you know, putting engagement balloons in the background and people asking, why aren't you engaged? And they go, ask Dave. I don't know. Like, I'm fine with it. I actually am too busy to get married. But then, you know, alluding to it constantly. And like, she's bringing it up too, like, you know, did I have to get married? No, I made a choice that I don't. It's like, yeah, if he asked you though, would you say yes? Like, that's the question I want to know. Or like, he's never been married before, has no kids. So it makes more sense for him to continue that lifestyle moving forward. I don't know. It just seems like she is excusing it. Like, I never wanted to be married. Like, okay. And I'm sure you would be married to this guy too. Because, like, again, like, you're not casually dating other people, so it seems.
Specifically about them being, I mean, I'm assuming they're monogamous, but I think there's something about them being monogamous and not married that ruffles people's feathers more than if they were non-monogamous and not married, which is insane to me.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think we've romanticized the idea of marriage so that more people do it. Marriage to me is a lot like college. Like, we've romanticized the idea of going to college because we want more people to go to college. We want people to be educated. And we've done that with marriage because if we're going to be honest about marriage as an institution, it really does make certain things easier, especially for young people. Like, if I'm, you know, in my mid 20s and I want to go buy a house, right? It becomes much easier, even if I'm just trying to rent a place, it becomes much easier if I have two incomes attached to my name. Becomes, you know, there are all kinds of tax incentives when you start having kids. If I want to just raise a kid, a lot of times it's much easier with two people around. Like, I think there's these like concrete advantages to being married that I think
it's even easier if you have a sister wife, less housework, split it up, communal living. I mean, if you get benefits for that, you get double the benefits if you have more people living there.
Serve people when they're, especially when they're younger, when they're trying to establish themselves. But I think there's nothing wrong with, like, when you get, like, acknowledging the reality of that, because as I think we're starting to do now with higher education, is like, we're looking, it's like, well, maybe everybody doesn't need to go to college.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Beans has this great joke that she always talks about, because her and Sammy don't want to have kids. And her joke is always that people are like, when are you guys going to have kids? You should have kids. Why don't you want to have kids? But she's like, you just spent 30 minutes telling me how terrible it is to be a parent. Yeah. Nothing about what you just described would make me want to.
Rachel, you have 4 children. You missed your chance to have a child-free life. Sorry. One of them is in kindergarten, so you got a long time to go. And it's like, this is, all these feelings and things are fine, but like, you made your choices. Now you got to like live with them, unfortunately. You know, she just makes me feel kind of bad for the kids, how she's like celebrating. Like, I don't want to be married, and being a parent's horrible. So, like, how would you feel if you're the kid that didn't ask to be born? You know, I don't know. My mom did this to me. So again, I'm projecting my own feelings, but my mom was always like, oh, she liked being a mom in some aspects, but it was more like, you know, I could have done better things. I could have had a life. I could have been thinner. You know, the pregnancy made me so fat. And like, not that she was saying, I don't want you necessarily directly to my face, but that was the message I was taking. Like, you know, you better be perfect, or else, like, I'm already disappointed that you are here. So, you know, if you don't make everything super smooth and easy for me, then I'm going to be even more pissed. And so you internalize that as a kid. So I feel bad for her children. I'm not saying that she's saying that directly, but I don't know. You got to be very careful what you say when you have little kids. They can't comprehend the nuance of like, oh, if I would have changed things, but I wouldn't change things. It's slippery slope.
Yeah. And they're like, no, but it's great. It'll be different when it's your baby. And I feel like parenting is another one of those things that society tells us is for everyone, and it's not.
It's not for everyone.
It is not. It is like, I, as you know, I have 4 children. Here's this thing that I just had this epiphany yesterday, Hassan. My 4 kids, I got 15, 14, 10, and 5. My 4 kids do not care that I am parenting 3 other children. Do you know what I mean? Like, they, in their mind, they are the only creature in the universe. It does not matter to them that mommy just spent the whole day shuttling one kid around for baseball, taking care of a 5-year-old, helping the 9-year-old with a science project. Like, the 15-year-old, the second there's a free opening, Jackson's like, oh, Mom, remember you said that you were going to help me with that thing? And I'm like, I am. That's right. And it's only taken me 15 years to realize they don't give a crap that you're tired.
They're children.
They don't care that you
They're not
work full
supposed to.
time. They don't care. Parenting is so damn hard. It's unbelievable. Rewarding, amazing. I love my kids. So hard. And society would tell every single person, regardless of socioeconomic status, regardless of whether or not they're interested in it, regardless of their emotional well-being, their mental health, regardless of any of it, like, you got to have that baby though. You got to have that baby. Yeah. It's exactly what you're talking about. This idea that there are all of these things that we've just always done. Well, it's the way it's always been done. And so we fall into a pattern or a rhythm or a process and just kind of follow and do what everyone else is doing. And I think what we're seeing, I feel like this happens in your 30s.
Again, like, you know, she's not saying it outwardly, but it would make me feel bad as a kid too, like, to be hearing this from your parent. Like, my kids just want attention and they want me to care about them, and I have other kids to care about, and I have a career to worry about, and, you know, come on, guys. Like, 5-year-old child who is also adopted and gone through like a divorce, you know, all the kids went through the divorce as well, and now they're being shuffled around between houses and flown out to Arizona and back, and with another girlfriend and another boyfriend. Like, there's no sympathy for them. Like, as much as, like, you know, she has to work on projects with them and whatever, like, they also are going through all the romantic issues you're going through on the child side. So it just makes me feel like, keep this off of your podcast. Like, the kids can hear it. If they don't hear it, great, I'm happy. But at the same time, it makes you look like a jerk. Like, at the very least, like, I understand you can have these feelings. I'm not saying these feelings are not real or shouldn't be had. Have whatever feeling, but it does brings it to a weird place when it's like, I don't know, when you're talking about it publicly. Okay, I'm just going to see if there's anything else, and then we're going to switch gears because I'm bored.
And I'm super excited to head into my 40s. So I feel like that's about to be the decade. But I feel like you start to question a lot of the things that you used to believe. And that the older you get, the more you have the courage to voice those questions and go, wait a minute, I don't know if this is for me. And is that okay? Like, am I allowed to be here if I don't want to do the things that you think I should be doing?
Yeah.
What? You're going to leave your kids? Do not leave your children. You don't have to be a wife anymore, but yeah, you kind of do have to do that. You're in charge of these children. Come on.
I think that's an important point. I've been saying this a lot too. I think structured way relationships continue evolving.
I mean, like, it's not abnormal now to expect to live to 80, 90, even 100. And suddenly, it used to be, if you were 40, you're middle-aged.
Right.
If you're 40 now, do you have 50 more years? Do you have more years left on this earth than you've even lived so far? With more access and resources and information and wisdom and all of that stuff at your fingertips, I hope that we're making decisions that sort of shake ourselves and ask what we're doing and why we're doing it. And this makes me think of a question that I feel like you absolutely have an opinion on.
Okay.
Which is this idea of, like, being in the Matrix or being in a simulation.
Yes.
Okay. I kind of don't care.
Your belief about the simulation.
I think it's perfectly plausible to conclude that we're living in some kind of simulation that's being ran by some other entity or consciousness or some other intelligence out there. I think that, like, man, I think...
Well, wait, let me tell you. So I was just talking, you know my friend Tom Bilyeu? You've seen him speaking, right?
Oh, Lord, Tom Bilyeu call out. Okay. Rachel got red-pilled. All right. Last part. I love some Tom Bilyeu slander. Hold on.
What up, homie?
Lisa's like, all right, I'm back.
So I was talking to Tom about this, and you know Tom has some crazy-ass perception.
Yeah.
And he said, he was talking so fast I could barely keep up with what he was saying. But here's, like, the nugget that I took out of it, was he was like, if you could just conceive of the fact that this could be a simulation, then you have to also accept the fact that there's no way this is the first one.
Yeah. It's true.
So are you actually a simulation of a simulation of a simulation?
It's true. I mean, I think the foundation of
What was the point of saying Tom said that? Like, no one cares. All right, I'm out. Does everyone agree? Please say yes. I would like to move forward. Boring. Okay, so the other, let's get into our main topic. We're already at 2 hours. Let's get into the main topic. We're going to talk about Bruce Pitcher, and it's a little serious, more serious than the other topics, perhaps. It does involve, here's the trigger warning, it does involve child sex abuse, fairly heavily, and that's kind of a big part of his story, and sort of something I had criticized Heidi about, because she, in one of her live streams selling Show Up Summit, she did on her Instagram, she was like just divulging all of his personal information about, you know, this tragic event that happened in his life. Now, it's already been divulged on national television in very great detail, and on his own website and on his Instagram and social media platforms, so it's not like a secret. However, I still think it's always your choice and always your place to divulge information about your own, you know, abuse and things that have happened. So I still am going to hold on my criticism of Heidi when he was not in the room. He wasn't there to speak for himself or defend himself or to explain. She was like selling it as like, he's a speaker and this is what happened to him, and was, you know, it was, to me, in poor taste. So yeah, I don't know if I can pin stuff. I wish I could. If so, trigger warning. So everyone warn everybody. I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. So yeah, that's going to be kind of important in this discussion. So if that's a problem, no harm, no foul. But it's going to come up a few times. So on that note, let's start the process of cleansing ourselves.
Clear.
And now we are healed and we can begin. So who is Bruce? Number one, that's an important question. And then also, how does he fit into the Hollis universe? And basically, he was on the show Extreme Makeover Weight Loss Edition. And it might actually have changed the name at some point, because it seems like they switched off into different subsections. Kitty, you gotta go. Bye. And Tara's on the floor anyways. She's back. She'll come around again. Okay, so he's this guy. He's the guy, obviously. That's Heidi and Chris. And there is Bruce Pitcher. So basically he was on the show, and he was 420 pounds at his heaviest, as he claims, or as he said in the show. And now he fluctuates. He's been very thin. He's been like doing bodybuilding competitions. He's kind of gone up and down since the big weight loss, but he was on the show that takes 1 year, and the camera crews follow you and you lose weight. And that was the show. You get on the scale every week. This is what he looked like before. This is what he looks. I don't know if he looks like this now, but after the transformation, this is like where he ended up after the weight loss. And then here's an interview. We're going to watch a little bit of that, of Heidi interviewing him. And if you follow closely to the Heidi Powell universe, it seems like Bruce stayed with Heidi during the divorce. And I don't know how much is involved, but I do want to bring attention to sort of like the professional, interesting tidbits of what's going on. So it's not drama in the sense of like personality drama. It's like professional drama, I believe. So anyways, let's go back in time. And here's a better picture of him. That's from his own website. That's kind of more what he looks like now. And he tells his story. Okay, and we're going to talk about this woman again in a second. But let's go back in time and watch a clip from the show where Chris is... And I probably will get copyrighted, but that's fine. I think it's worth it. This is the show where Chris and Heidi were both on, and Bruce was on it too. So this clip is from 2014, and extreme weight loss contestant Bruce Pitcher has one button, and Chris Powell pushed it in this exclusive sneak peek. So I'm not going to set it up too much. Watch the clip, and then I'll kind of break it down afterwards. So this is from the show.
I want you to impress me. Crawl down, turn around, jump up.
Let's do it.
Today, I'm going to be the voice that's been in Bruce's head for the last 29 years. His father. Show me what you got, Bruce. I want Bruce to realize that he can push back. Because if he can fight back against me now and today, he'll realize that he can fight back against his father.
The music is so loud.
Impress me, Bruce.
I hear my dad's voice throughout the day, 100 times a day, just in my head constantly, that I gotta be impressive.
Come on, Bruce, impress me. Show me what you got. Wow me. Come on, Bruce. I'm not impressed.
The whole time I was like, what more? Why can't I impress him? What do I gotta do? What do I gotta do?
Nope, not good enough. I'm not impressed. For Bruce to transform, for him to change his life, he needs to break out of these bonds that his dad has put him in, and he needs to do this for himself. You gotta step it, you step it. You jump it, you jump it. Come on, Bruce, impress me, dude. It's not good enough. I'm not impressed. This is disappointing.
What more do you want? I felt like I wasn't performing, and it affected me in my workout. It affected me with what I was trying to do. And I didn't know if I could do it, and it got me in a panic. I couldn't take it. I really couldn't take it anymore. I can't handle the negativity. I don't need negativity anymore.
So what are you gonna do about it?
You know what? I can do what I need to do, and I know what kind of effort I give.
Yes! That's what I've been waiting for this whole time. This is your transformation. Are you starting to get it now?
Yeah.
So, what do you think of all the things I have to say? It's not good enough. You're not good enough. I'm not impressed. This is disappointing. What is it?
I don't have to prove anything to anybody.
Yes! Now you're starting to get it.
Okay. So I know that was a little difficult to watch, and I played it fully because of that reason. So watching that, you might be like, okay, so Bruce's dad is, a hard ass, and he just, wants, it seemed like, the way Chris was, embodying him, that the dad was a figure in his life that was never satisfied or whatever. Yes, that's one part of it, but also it's much more serious than that. And I believe at the time, Chris was well aware of how deep the dad stuff went. So let me get back to my document. Okay, so here's a video also from the show. And like I said, this was they did 1 year with him, with Bruce. And this is another scene from that. I don't know if it's one episode or a couple episodes. But again, okay, so Chris is like getting in his head, yelling at him, screaming at him, saying, whatever. That's the style that Bruce later on will take on, that very intense screaming in your face, like you don't believe in yourself as a person if you don't complete this workout. That seems to be the pathway that he has taken, because obviously look at Chris, just did the same thing to him. It seems like, the hard ass way to do that, borderline abusive way that he's done that, if not fully on abusive tactic that was popular back on those shows back in those days. It seems to have had a lasting effect on Bruce. Now, this part is the secondary plot of the story. Not only was Chris embodying the dad in that episode, his dad was also in the middle of going to prison for child sex abuse with members of the football team allegedly, I guess, I don't know all the details, but it seemed like the football team that Bruce was also on, there were students on that team that had come forward and said that the coach had abused them, and that coach was his dad. And then later on, Bruce had also said he also abused me. He didn't realize that it was abuse until the other students had, gone to the police. So not only was that part of the narrative, Chris was then using his voice as his dad to push him through that, and and I'm going to agree. I watched these shows back in the day, back in 2005, 2008, whatever time frame, and I didn't find anything to be problematic about it. So it's not like I've always seen the light of this. I haven't. I thought they were entertaining. I liked the music. I liked the intensity, whatever. But now that I'm a little bit more aware of these things, Chris is not a professional. He's not a psychological, genius or trained in anything. And I don't believe personally that fitness has anything to do with your mental, toughness, with your mental ability to overcome tragedy and trauma. I just don't find the link to be directly, if you could just pick up this weight and hold it over your head for 20 minutes, then you'll know that you can survive abuse. I just don't, we've evolved as a society, I think, since those beliefs were true. But it seems like Bruce is still in that mindset. Chris is a lot still in that mindset. And Heidi definitely is still in that mindset of if you could just show that you're physically, strong, then all of your problems will go away. Just prove to yourself that you're strong physically, and then you won't have to deal with, your other issues. So, this is also sort of like a look at and a critique of reality shows in that time period, which really focused on weight loss will solve all of your trauma. So here it is, another clip from the show. It says, one of the hardest days of my life. With Thanksgiving approaching, I want to talk about gratitude. Okay, and this is something that I think Heidi has taken on, that I think that she's sort of copied from him when it comes to her family and her, overcome, at least how she says she's overcome an eating disorder, but that she thanks her family for putting her through that, essentially, because she's stronger and better. It's a concept that I also used to believe in, that I no longer believe in, that, trauma and bad things make you stronger, make you better as a person. So, be grateful for the trauma. And it's his own choice to believe whatever he wants. I just think that I've heard Heidi say those things before, and I found it to be surprising that was her take on it. And I find it surprising that this is his take on it. Now, he has a right to believe whatever he wants, but I just find it to be a little bit surprising or different. So it says, okay, this is something I practice daily. People ask me all the time how I'm so happy and energetic and positive all the time, and it's because I am just so thankful for life. I'm thankful for the life that I had growing up, not because it was great, but because it shaped who I am today and allowed me to create the life that I have now. I'm thankful for what I went through as a kid, and to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way, because it has been what has helped me to connect to others who have experienced trauma and tragedy. Yes, it was a struggle, and yes, it is still hard to comprehend sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's my choice to see it as a blessing and an opportunity to give back to others. And I 1000% agree with that. It's his choice to see it however he does. However, he is definitely going into the coaching space. He's a fitness coach, but he definitely crosses the line into psychological coaching and telling people, oh, your mom was a drug addict, let me help you through that. So it is sort of needs to be said, I guess, that this is his philosophy on trauma and sexual abuse, that he is thankful that it happened to him. I just, he is a coach, so he's helping other people with trauma. It needs to be said that this is his mindset. So here's a little bit of the clip from the show, I believe.
As I walked in the room, I just had a lot of nerves and anxiety.
Now this is what they showed on the Extreme Weight Loss show. His dad's arraignment or, sentencing.
I didn't know what to expect. I was shaking. You just can't prep a mind enough to know what you're gonna feel like.
Good afternoon. This is the time set for a rehearing for Danny Pitcher. Under number 137603. Is that you, sir?
Yes, it is.
If you would, please raise your right hand so I can place you under oath. Do you swear that the information you provide today will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
Thank you.
To see him, the back.
I think Heidi's in the front, too.
Hearing him talk, it was just...
I believe. She's at this hearing in the background. Hold on, let me see.
There were 22 counts of various child sex abuse. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, you've been...
Let's go back. Sorry.
Do you swear that the information you provide today will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
Thank you.
To see him, you know, the back of him and just hearing him talk, it was just really nerve-wracking.
In the original charging information, there were 22 counts of various child sex abuse. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, you've been, at bare minimum, grooming kids since 1980. And maybe even before that. But that's as far back as I'm aware of. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
As the head of the parole board, read.
Like, why is Kristen, I mean, I get it, but like, this is all performative too for the show. Like, this is a contestant on their show. They're there. They got the cameras on them. Like, this is very weird. This is very odd. Like, why Heidi is at this guy's like sentencing. You know, of course she has a right to be there, but like, I just find this to be problematic in looking backwards at these shows and how much, and any reality show really, they're exploiting the fuck out of you. They're exploiting you for the entertainment of others. And it's been perceived as okay. And maybe he's fine with it. But at the same time, it's like, we got to look at ourselves too, and myself as well. Like, why am I watching this? Why am I supporting this? This is like way too invasive into this person's life and sickening, to be quite frank. Like, and then we're supposed to say, oh, because he, you know, went to the gym afterwards, he's healed and fine. Like, this guy needs serious psychological help to get through all this stuff. I'm not saying he has an illness. I'm just saying he needs support psychologically. Heidi and Chris Powell ain't going to do it. And it's sad that they don't, like, I don't know, put that more in the messaging.
Off the list of all the accusations and all the convictions. You could just see Bruce visibly shaking and crying. Bruce couldn't escape his past. I mean, sitting directly in front of him is his father, who abused him for the majority of his life, and sitting 2 rows behind him is his dad's whole side of the family, just sitting there glaring at him.
So you're aware your ex-wife's written a letter as well as your oldest son, Bruce. Bruce says that you abused him basically for as long as he can remember. Is that accurate?
I test, you know, in my therapy, I've given all the results and the behaviors I've participated in. We were always close as a father and son. You know, we did a lot of stuff together at Halloween time. We used to put makeup on him and help him out there and so forth. And so I'm very proud of both my sons. They mean a lot to me.
Yeah, you just gave me a really long answer, but it didn't even answer my question. All I asked was, is that accurate? Did you abuse Bruce or not?
No.
And the fact that you went on this rambling diatribe tells me you're not being honest. I mean, you should be able to look me point blank in the face and say, no, I didn't abuse my son if you didn't. And so that causes me great concern, not only because I mean, what does he have to gain by making it up?
What I'm thinking of, what abuse is I'm accused of there? I mean, is it mentally abuse, physically abuse, sexually?
And also, so the charges that he's facing judgment for are not Bruce related, or yeah, they're not Bruce didn't press charges or his family didn't on his behalf. It was the other children that had come forward, I guess as adults, to say that they had been abused by him on his team. And Bruce at the time, he now is doing his business, but he was also a football coach. So he basically became like the dad, like what his dad did. He was also a football coach. So I don't know the time frames of all this stuff or what was going on, but very weird.
Abuse.
Sexual?
Sexual, I'll say no.
Well, why would he say that you did? Help me understand, because you can imagine being the victim, how embarrassing that would be to talk about something like this, especially at the hands of your own father. So I don't see that he has anything to gain by coming forward with this. It's highly suspect given.
This is in Utah. I don't know if that helps figuring out if this is real. I mean, it looks real to me, but I mean, how would they get this guy who's like an inmate to be a part of the show in like a fake scenario? I don't know.
And the other victims that you do have. So we're going to have to agree to disagree on what I think happened, but that's the way it is.
If the parole board feels that Bruce's father is ready to be released from prison, it could happen this year.
There's Heidi. I guess this is a parole board hearing, so he's already been in jail, prison. He's already been in prison, so they're going to let him out perhaps. Maybe that's the difference.
It's hard to think that this man actually has a chance of walking free. We can't let that happen.
Bruce, you don't have to speak if you don't want to, but it's your choice if you'd like to. I'm happy to hear from you.
Bruce is all over the place. I'm freaking out because I'm thinking he might not go through with this.
All right, I'll just... When the Board of Pardons member asked me to speak, I was like, no way. But then, you know, it just came to me and said, you know what? This is what I said I would do. And since I've started this thing, I said I was going to work the hardest, and I was truly going to transform. And I said if I was able to speak, I would speak, and I did.
Do you swear that the information you provide today will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
Thank you. If you just tell us your name so that we have it for the record?
Bruce Dan Pitcher.
Thank you. I'm happy to hear whatever you would like to say.
I just wanted to say that I did love my dad with all my heart, and I thought that he was the greatest thing ever, and I
This is so hard to watch.
did so many things that can make him happy in so many ways, and I wanted to be that son.
I just wanted to play this because it shows how fucked up it is that Chris was then using his voice of the dad to inspire him to work out and to climb up the stairs. Like, Chris is obviously aware of all this has gone on. He's at the parole hearing. He's like very, alert into the situation. And then to even go, okay, now I'm gonna be your dad's voice. Like, it's just so gross. Yeah, we can stop. Albanese, thank you so much. Have to run. Great stream as always. Kia and Tara. Thank you. Yeah, we can stop. I just wanted to get the point across that Chris was pretty bad to do that scene. And for that, I will say,
I was the one that needed to get a life.
Says Dave. Okay, so that's that. So that gives you some background. Now, I will also say that I'm trying to set this up in a way that makes it seem like my theory on his type of training. His type of training in the sense, so he did the show, he lost a lot of weight, and then he became a coach on the show. Oh no, hello? Did E Network take me off? Damn. We're back? Okay. How do I turn this off? Sorry. I guess that's the key. Just hold on. Never give up. Don't stop believing. Just follow all the doctrine of self-help, and then you'll be back. You know what? Policy violation?
I do not give a fuck.
Suspended again. Okay, so we'll keep it based on fitness now. Okay, so all right. So basically, I don't know how much I said that you didn't hear, but basically Bruce then went on to go be a coach on the show for one season, allegedly. and then later joined Transform. And he was a head coach or one of the head coaches of Transform. And he, he was working with Transform and working with Heidi and Chris, and seemed to be doing that up until 2020. So, let's see, which one's this one? Then he decided to, okay, so let's talk about his YouTube channel. So he has a YouTube channel. I'm trying to find out his reason. Okay, and also, let me start over again. This is throwing me for a loop a little bit. What was I going to say? Oh, okay. So Bruce spoke at Show Up Summit in Arizona during Heidi's conference. So he came out with this like weight belt and told his story. So that's how he's been involved. And Heidi has gone to his events and done like promo stuff for it. But Bruce is involved now with this company called First Form, and it looks like he made the switch over in 2021. He's been taken off the Transform site. He's started his own brand, and I don't know if it was a applauded situation, at least on Chris's part, or if it was like something that, you know, Chris is cool with or not. I can't tell. It looks like Chris might not be cool with it, that he like made his own company and basically took the concepts that he was doing at Transform and then brought people over. And that seems to be like the drama of what's going on. But he has this YouTube channel, and he's sort of making his own reality show, sort of what Heidi seems to be trying to do. Yeah, it's First Form. And I saw one of Savvy's videos about it. And First Form is very controversial, but we'll get there because I do want to talk about First Form, which is not an MLM, but it's an affiliate, and it's bordering on like problematic. And also the guy who owns it, runs it, is problematic in my opinion in certain ways. So we'll get there. But yeah, there was a big blow up. Not a big blow up. There was a change somewhere because it went from Transform being the brand partner into First Form. And Heidi and Bruce hang out all the time, so it seems, and I don't ever see him with Chris anymore. But Chris, if we talked about the tattoo, let me see, Chris, Powell, and Bruce Pitcher, they both got the same tattoo. So Chris got it first, and then Bruce got it as well. So he, you know, if they're in a fight, it's kind of awkward because they got the matching tattoos. And basically it's like helping one person, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 100,000, million, and a zillion, or something like that. That's the meaning behind the tattoo. So the thing I want to talk about here is like, okay, so he's trying to have his own reality show, but he's doing it on YouTube, and it's highly produced, which is good. I think that's a good thing because, you know, you can hear it. The video work is good. They follow people, and basically people from all over the country, 7 people moved to Arizona for 90 days and do trainings with Bruce. And it's like, I don't know, he's supposed to be inspiring them to lose weight.
Hi, my name is Crystal.
And so these are the people who have applied.
I'm 24 from Wisconsin. Hello, everyone.
So these are the people, and you'll see quickly that it goes into like screaming. So it's like Biggest Loser, but everyone gets to stay the whole time, and you have 90 days to lose a bunch of weight while you're working out every day and, you know, getting coached by him.
Or box step-ups, then you go right to the rower. So you guys will do push press. Then the thing we're gonna do different is you're gonna do sled mills. There we go, 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. You're a minute. There you go, Tyler, there you go. Be careful, there you go. You can step down if you need to. There we go. Push, come on.
Oh no, I can't get the music. I'll be kicked off again. Okay, so he's yelling. And then now he's gonna talk about these people's traumas. Very similar to the setup of the show that he was on.
90 days is going to look like, and to see how hard they can push and then build them down a little bit and then build them all the way back up so they know, bam, this is what you can do. This is what you can achieve. We have rowing workouts, we have assault bike workouts, and it's just going to be a lot of fun, and I cannot wait. So we got Tara that's coming out here. She was kind of talking to me yesterday about she wants to be around for her kids. Like, her biggest thing is loving her kids, being around forever, because her mom was a severe drug addict, and she's clean now, but she's had a hard time forgiving that. And I think we're gonna dive into that kind of stuff. And then Tyler's always just said he's giving in to everybody else, giving in to like his friends, maybe pushed him to go do things that he's not supposed to. And he's about to get this fire hose, and he's gonna drag all that stuff that he's been holding on to for a little while. He's gonna pull it across the line and be like, I'm done with it. Tyler, you got the fire hose, my man. Okay, you're on the fire hose. Tara, you got the sled. Okay, so Tara, you're gonna drive this bad boy. Okay, you got to ask yourself, like, why you're doing this, right? For your 4 kids at home, and for your mom, you know, like forgiving her, doing all these things, and this is all.
Again, like, see, here we are, like, it's a workout. She's got to push a sled down the parking lot, but now we're talking about, like, forgiving your mom for being a drug addict. Like, what does he know about that? Nothing. So, like, or I don't know, maybe he does know something, but even if he does know something, he doesn't know how to cure somebody from that, you know, trauma. And I hate how it conflates into, like, if you can just do this workout and not be so fat. If you could just be skinny, all your problems would go away. And that's the underlying message underneath this. And they would go, no, it's not about being skinny, it's about being fit. It's like, okay, well, being fit is not this. It's the same thing too. It's not gonna like make you not have the trauma of your mom's drug abuse, like whatever. Like, and it's also like, do you sign a waiver to say like all my personal business can be put on YouTube, you know, for your gain? I guess. I don't know how the payment, if they're paying him to be there, if he's paying them to be there, if the camera crew, what they are getting paid. I don't know. It just seems like a waste of money, in my opinion. I mean, he did it very well, and I do appreciate good production value, but it's just like, is this a pilot? What is this? Is it just to get, you know, like clients? It's confusing a little bit. And so, you know, okay, here we go.
All this stuff starts right here. Then Tyler, you got this hose. All the crap you've been going through with your friends, all that crap, you're gonna carry that baggage all the way down, and then when you get all the way past that building.
If that was the case, like, oh, this represents baggage and you're gonna carry it down, like Rachel was talking about, like every professional athlete would never have a problem, would never have an anger issue, would never have anything, because they physically are so in shape and they're lifting stuff and they're being, you know, told that they can do it and go for it and proving themselves every day, and they still have mental issues. So it's like, this is just not a real thing that works long term. I
want you to drag it. When you can't run it anymore, you pull that thing forward. Okay, you guys got 2 minutes.
It sucks because there's music, but he's screaming, go, go, go.
You got a minute. Right there, Tyler, pull it now. Pull it. Come on, you gotta pull it. Come on, you gotta pull that thing. Come on, you gotta get deep. Come on, Sarah.
You think he has to pull it?
You gotta go faster. Drive to the end. One more, all the way through. Let's go.
Okay, I'm trying to get past the music because it's probably copyrighted.
Put this thing around.
Okay, so now.
1.
Let's skip this. So they're dying in the parking lot in Arizona.
Come on. You know what I mean? Now you're standing up for yourself. This is about you. Come on, push it. Let's go. Pull, give it another pull. Come on, one more, we don't stop. There we go, bingo. Yeah. You felt like you don't deserve this time? This is you, man. This is whatever you want to do. Where did Tara go? Tara!
What happened to Tara?
Tara, that's a good question. What did she do? This is what I'm talking about.
This was filmed in 2020. I saw someone in a mask, so it must have been around the time.
We're about to find out.
Before.
Sarah, where are you at?
My
filmed and posted in 2020.
foot is killing me.
What is wrong with it?
Because I have that blister on the bottom of my foot, and every time I push on it, it's like a sharp pain going through the bottom of my foot.
Okay, come here. We'll talk about it. All right, so blister, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel other than that?
Really weak.
What's going through your mind right now?
I can't do this. I feel like I can't do it because of the pain.
You can. You can do this. You're gonna pick up this plate then over your head and walk. There. Is that better?
Yeah.
This is what I want you to see in this though. Okay? So what? You got a blister. So you gotta say to yourself, all right, because during this journey
You get a blister, you gotta say, all right.
you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be obstacles in life?
Always.
Yeah. All that stuff's gonna happen. So do you just be like, I can't, and sit down?
No.
Yeah. I'm doing this because I love you. You know that.
No, I know.
You know that, okay? Keep it going. Yeah, yeah. Tara, I'm gonna get you like, you're gonna be a fiend fighting machine, okay? All right, let's turn around and start walking back. Come on, feel that burn.
Oh, yeah,
feel
it
that
burns,
burn.
it burns.
Feel that burn. Come on, come on. Okay,
Oh my gosh.
hold it, hold it, hold it. Keep holding it, keep holding it. Straight, straight, you got it. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Yeah, they are, but you're not weak. Just look at me, you got it. Okay, here we go, 5 seconds. You got it. Here we go, hold it, hold it. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, time. Hey.
Are you healed yet? Is your trauma over? I just wish it wasn't so much music. It's killing me. I can't play it that much. So that's season 1. Now, apparently, I mean, this is sort of related. And back to the tattoo thing. Chris got it first, then Bruce got it afterwards. Apparently, someone died. I think. I don't know if she was just an online person or what. But let me check. Because I saw the post and I was like, oh no. Her name was Anna. I don't know if she was just like an online person or what. But some of the topics, so yeah, okay, let me just talk before I move away from that. This is on his post that the larger than life family's mourning the loss of one of our own today. Anna's energy, spirit, and commitment was contagious and inspiring to anyone who met her. It took a single interaction for Anna to imprint on your life. Many of you have seen her posts or her workout videos. Anna had a determination that was unmatched. Her smile and laugh lit up a room, and her belief in each and every one of us to achieve our goals was unwavering. Although we are forced to say goodbye to Anna in this life, her legacy will live on in larger than life. The space that Anna held in this community will never be forgotten. We love you. Okay. But I don't know. She's a part of the family, but I don't know if she was just an online person or she was like an actual contestant.
The best you life.
Here's another example of the training.
Life is hard. And how many times we've taken the easy way out? How many times? A long time, right? Life is hard. Like we talked about today in the workout, the reason we do these workouts is because we have to get better in life. And Janine, you said it for a second there, but then the doubt creeped in. Are you giving enough? It's a yes or no question.
No.
Why do you feel you're not giving enough? You just said you were. Trying the best you can. Guess whose opinion matters? Whose opinion matters if you're giving the best effort? Who's the one that knows if you're giving the best effort?
Me.
You. That's it. So are you giving the best effort?
Yes.
Yes. Okay? So start being proud of it. My name is Bruce Pitcher, and I was given...
So, yeah, that's Bruce. I think this is her.
I'm most afraid I won't quit.
Yeah, so she died. I don't know. I guess we can look at her and see what the story is. Now, she didn't die on the camera, I don't think, but...
My name is Janine King. I'm from the UK, and my starting weight is 380.
So I think I always remember feeling like this. Like I kind of not good enough. I don't know why. But
she was also British. I'm surprised. She looks the same though.
Family is all pretty skinny. So I always looked different, and they always used to say they thought they brought the wrong baby home from the hospital. Not because of my size, just my size, but I always struggled at school. I always felt bigger. I felt out of place, not good enough. Yeah, I didn't feel great about myself the way I looked.
Okay, so, another. They're doing all the same things as the other show.
You wanted to?
Yes.
Promise me?
Yeah.
Okay. Get ready to read that to that person up there.
Dear me, it's time to let go of the burden stopping you moving forward and forgive yourself. It's time to let go of the self-judgment and hatred.
We found out it had moved to her liver.
She continuously just
having to believe in myself.
Got stronger.
Okay, well. There's 3 seasons, but like even that last video only had 900 views.
Talk about just a little bit about what larger in life means to me. One day I was just like kind of thinking, dreaming, whatever. I was like, I told way back in EWL day, and if he was here, he would say it. I said, dude, someday we need to make a boot camp just like we're experiencing here. And I was like, we're going to do it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that, I promise. So as the time went by, and then obviously I talked to Nick, that's on the production here, that's filming this thing. We were talking one day and how this started. He goes, well, let's just get.
Okay, Nick, I think, is the same guy that shoots video for Heidi as well. So I don't know.
One individual, and let's just kind of do a vlog kind of thing. We'll just follow.
All the companies seem to overlap each other. So I don't know what difference you're getting between Heidi's challenge, joining Transform, joining this group. They all are so similar in a lot of ways. It's hard to figure out, but okay. Let me go back to the, there's so much to like say in all this, but this is the larger than life. Like if you were to sign up, this is what the page looks like. Like, okay, join, whatever. This is what you get. This is what others say. Okay. Even the flag was a part of his thing that he did with Transform. And then he just changed the flag to a different flag to his current branded one. So to join, if you were, so not the show, not the one where you're going and you're like going to be living with him or whatever for 90 days, but for $150 a month, you can, which is the lowest one, you get accountability, which is a starter guide, access to the Facebook page, weekly Zoom, and weekly email check-in. So pretty, low things. And then you get Express. Now you don't get to know the price of this one, which is monthly Zoom calls, daily Voxer, app access, whatever. It's probably $200, $250, because that's in between. And then $350 a month is the VIP, which gets you Zoom calls, app access, starter guide. So they're all the same. They're basically all the same. But one thing that I found to be a little bit confusing is coaches. Okay, so here's a coach, Brandy Seagroves. Now, she looks like someone that's in Heidi's group. I swear to God, they're like twins, but apparently I don't know if there's any relation, but they look very similar in the face. It says, Brandy Seagroves is a former client of Bruce. Working directly with Bruce for over 2 years, Brandy was able to lose over 140 pounds. Having been trained by Bruce, she has a remarkably similar coaching style with her own added flair. Brandy is passionate about helping people and is driven by desire, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so she was 300 pounds and started. But then if you go to the Transform, hey, watch out, kitty. Transform app. This is Chris's company. And you go to transformations. Just want to go to the app, not this. Why can't I find anything today? Sorry, everybody. I suck today, apparently. I just want to buy the supplements. There you go. Right? Or the app. But basically, she's on the other page. She's on the Transform page as like a success story. So I was confused because I'm like, okay, how can she be on both pages? Like, who is the one who actually did the, the transformation? Because Chris is saying that he did it, and now Bruce is saying that he did it. It's a little confusing. Where is it though? Shop now? They need to fix their website because I want to do the app. Oh yeah, they have nighttime shakes now. Form app. The Transform app. Okay, here it is. Doodly doo doo doo. I'm sweating. Okay, here we go. Coaching. There she is, Brandy. Okay, so Brandy says that she was trained by him, but now he's on this one. So just another thing that it seems like, you know, he was a big fan of Chris and Heidi. I don't know if it was the divorce that brought them all apart or what, but all of a sudden then Bruce leaves Transform, is no longer available on the site. His thing was called Champ Within from Transform. They got rid of that completely. Now he has his own company, Larger Than Life, and instead of Transform, he's using First Form, which maybe could be a money thing. He's like maybe he's a First Form, what's it called? First Form. It's got a stupid name. You become a familionaire or something. Let's see. Okay, let's just talk about First Form. I'm going all over the place. I'm sorry. This is a bad stream. So yeah, that was the tea. Not that exciting. But it seems like everyone just uses everybody. And if you go back here, okay, so this person is on the Larger Than Life team. And then if you go to trainers, you'll see Danielle and the other girl who's a part of Heidi's thing. Okay, you saw her as part of that. You saw Danielle as part of that. And then the other coaching, you got the other guy who's part of that. And apparently the chef David, that's always being talked about too, he's a part of Bruce's thing as well. So I don't know. It's like all crazy. Okay. And then this person, I don't know who, I thought that was a different person, but it's not, so I don't know. Okay, First Form. We did it. Now we're going to talk about First Form and who that is and why that's important. So this is Andy Frisella, I believe. Hey, what's up? I'm Andy, but you might hear people call me the Mufsio. Wait, Dave playing poker? I don't know anything. Let me look. Let me look at that. Dave playing poker is on his, is that hot tea? Hotter tea than this boring shit? No way. I'm clicking on Reddit right now. I mean, Dave Hollis has the money to go to Vegas. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. And he won $13,000? Okay, hold on. Must be nice. Stand by. Hold on. Okay, hot off the presses. I'm on Reddit. Starting over. Here we are on Reddit once again. My home. Okay, so this was posted. Could this be our Dave Hollis? 12th place in some gambling championship? Looks like it's a casino in Los Angeles. I wonder if this is part of his addiction was gambling. Thoughts? And then it's the LAPC, Los Angeles Poker Country. I don't know, casino. And if you look here, David Hollis, Dripping Springs, Texas, $13,650. Sounds about right. I don't know what this is, but 1100 No Limit Commerce Classic. I mean, it's free. It's free country, I suppose. Interesting, though. He doesn't talk much about that. I'm searching. Oh, yay. Someone posted this video, the one you're watching right now. Okay, that's the hot tea. That's the hot tea. But I don't think it's when you got a lot of money, you're able to take risks like that in gambling. But yeah, it's sort of interesting. We can talk about First Form another time. How about that? Let's listen to Dave. We'll wrap it out. We'll wrap up the day with some Dave. A lot of it is boring. I'm not going to lie. A lot of it is like regurgitated bullshit. But he does address... I'll give you my thoughts. He does address Toiletgate. Or sorry, he does address, Pancakegate. But he doesn't go into detail. He doesn't let anyone know who is unaware of what it is, and what he did, which is, sort of a cop-out, I think. And he also still is very heavy into self-help and, Jack Canfield said this, and my community is get fit, and that's where I'm spending my time, and I'm a work in progress, and it just so happens that he's coming out with this now when he has a book forthcoming, so I'm sort of less than impressed, but here we are. We can start over. And then...
If dog people made dog food, it definitely...
Oh, yeah. He's got some mixed in ads, just like Rachel does, where it's like half of it is him reading and half of them is like pre-recorded ads. So...
Try the
sitting over
portion meals tailored to your dog's needs. Tell us about your dog.
Yeah, get ready for word salad for sure. It's coming.
Your plan and get 50% off at thefarmersdog.com/podcast. That's thefarmersdog.com/podcast.
Hello, Rise Together listeners. Dave here. Sitting overlooking the back patio, here for a solo episode.
Oh, what? It happened during rehab? Dang. Talking about Dave. Oh, he's healing himself from drinking, going to a casino. Interesting. Now, that's just alleged. I don't know. I'm not saying that's what happened. That's interesting. We'll revisit this on a time where I can look at the details. Thank you, Mai.
It's been a while since I have done a solo podcast. And I'll tell you, it's in part because I'm still so much in the work of trying to dig into and understand why I do what I do, trying to kind of keep the learning that started almost a year ago continuing. And in some ways, it's me trying to find a little deeper sense of peace with myself. In some ways, it's my attempts to build a bit more confidence in myself. To be totally honest, as much as I really do love doing this podcast and the people I get to talk to, the last year has done a bit of a job on my willingness to share anything that might position me as a teacher, since I feel in so many ways that I am a student now more than ever, more than maybe any other time in my life. So think of this episode, think of me as your old pal Dave, not so much trying to teach you anything, but more that maybe by...
Not trying to teach you anything, by having a podcast in which I share things with you and don't want to be accused of knowing anything. But there we go. This is me. I am Dave at the Patio Piece, delivering things to you.
A little bit of my journey of this last year that maybe something will spark in you to do a little digging of your own in the hopes that that inner work will be the teacher in your own life. Welcome. Have your compassion. A year ago, it's the anniversary of the beginning of a lot of tumultuousness, a lot of learning, a lot of growth, a lot of beauty, a lot of darkness. Like, so many things in my life have happened in this last year. But about a year ago, we were a month away from the release of my second book. It was called Built Through Courage. I, at the time, was unbelievably proud of the work. I am still really, really so proud of the work. But at the time...
The work sucked. I'm sorry. The work sucked. He's proud of it. I'm glad that he's proud of it. But it was just him telling about all the famous people he's had contact with and saying that he's great and that ocean metaphor, sea ocean metaphor, boat metaphor. I have a tattoo. Here's a picture of my friend that I no longer talk to. Here's a picture of Heidi. That was the book. It's not life-changing by any stretch of the imagination to anyone. Not even to Dave, except life-changing in a negative way to Dave, I would say.
September of 2021, I'm gearing up for the old launch. And as much as I believe it was going to be a great resource for people then, still believe it's a great resource for people now, I also, if I'm being super honest, and I think some of the honesty is hopefully part of what comes out of the work that I am in the midst of, will continue to be in the midst of for some time, I knew something that I wouldn't necessarily say out loud then, even if it was just on an unconscious level. And that is that I was still really struggling in the aftermath of divorce, as much as at that point in time, what am I, like a year and 3 months into divorce?
Inside of divorce?
There was something in my mind, like this idea that like nobody wants to go to a sick doctor. Nobody would necessarily want to read a resource that was created by somebody if he were to confess that he was still struggling as much as he was. And that might have been a limiting belief. That might have been a thing I should have listened to, right?
A limiting belief. Like, why are you writing a self-help book in the first place? That's what everyone's question was. Why are you doing this? I mean, if you're contractually obligated, I guess I understand, but like maybe just write it from a place of like honesty. But he's like, everyone, same thing that Rachel said, everyone wanted me to be perfect, so I did what they asked me. Everyone wanted me to give them advice, so I just did what they were asking. It's like, take some responsibility, please.
Like, I am comfortable to suggest that, man, maybe the work would have been better or better received, or work that I was even able to take the advice of if I'd have spent a little bit more time doing work in healing, in grief, in, turning around and facing some of the stuff that I found myself running from, if I would have released the book 2 years from now or 5 years from now. But I couldn't see what I couldn't see at the time. I was blinded in some ways by, call it ego, blinded in some ways by this belief that if I could work hard enough or produce enough or achieve something, that it would in some ways reverse some of the feelings that I was experiencing in the aftermath of that divorce, and the way that rejection was a part of the experience that I'd gone through. And so I pushed forward. I did what I thought I needed to do, that if I could work hard, put on a happy face, be encouraging, be motivational, if I could help some other people, that it wouldn't matter necessarily if you didn't have the full picture of my experience, because...
But we got the full picture via Heidi's Instagram, so blame her.
I was still doing good work. I was still trying to help people.
How?
I still, like I believe today, I still think there are things.
Why didn't, the thing with Dave is like, or any of these people, it's like, if you really care and you're not in the place to be helpful, why don't you go take a class? Why don't you go take a course? Why don't you go enroll yourself in school and, learn something that doesn't have to do with your own lived experience, because that's all they have to offer. But it's not all that you could offer. You could go back and do something to help people, but you're choosing not to, which is sort of like, oh, people who are so pathetic that would listen to me can benefit no matter what's going on in my life, because, I'm better than them. Even on their best day, my worst day, I'm still better than them. Like, that's how it reads to me. Kimberly Casse, thank you so much. She says, I think it's funny how him and Rachel are sort of attacking each other in their podcast interviews, etc. They both drop snarks. Yeah, I know. Rachel's worse, I think, than Dave about it. Rachel seems to be more cutthroat about it. But,
This situation is a red flag.
It is a red flag.
This person is not okay.
That's Rachel talking about Dave. But not
my boyfriend.
He's perfect. I agree, Kimberly. Thank you. Okay, back to Dave.
Book that if you read it and implement it in your life, that you could have something of a breakthrough in your life.
If I could implement being Dave Hollis in my life, yeah, I would probably have a lot more money. But there's nothing that he said there that is relevant to me, because all of it was about his own life. And like the map didn't even make sense, and he didn't put much time and effort into it. Like he says he bled into it, but in reality, it was like a poorly slopped together train wreck, in my opinion, and filled with stories that were irrelevant to anyone but his own ego.
But it feels in some ways like I am being forced to learn some lessons over and over again. I feel, and maybe it's just me, but I feel in some ways like my life has had a few things that I have had to learn, continue to present the opportunity to learn them until I actually learn them, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but I've had to learn over and over again that the full picture matters. I've had
When
to
you're a
learn,
life coach, yeah, it does.
these lessons around integrity.
Because that's all you offer is the full picture. Who you are and how it worked. Yeah, that's important to people who are taking your advice.
Where you're trying to make sure that what you're presenting is also a reflection of what exists. And in that season of time, I don't know that I was doing a very good job of fully presenting the full truth of my experience. And of course, I'm being retaught these lessons because integrity matters, right? That not owning all of our human experience or only showing the good.
And I think integrity matters, but he only has integrity to himself. He doesn't have integrity to other people, because even at the end he's going to talk about, he's like, oh, so to further explain my integrity, I work out every morning because I told myself I work out. So now he's like, that's his integrity. But like, how about the integrity of showing up as who you truly are all the time? Not so much. That's not the integrity he's talking about, and he'll further explain that later, which is sort of disappointing.
It throws us out of alignment, and that hope for sustaining it is an impossibility. Or at least for me, it wasn't a matter of if I would fall, if I would stumble. It was a question of when, right? It was a question of when. The burden of trying.
And he's been talking about this shit for years, by the way. This is not the first time he's like said, I can rip people off. That's no problem, but I would know that that's wrong. And that's not what I want to do, because I value my own life, integrity. I can rip people off because I'm really good at it. And he literally like says that. He's like, I can sell anything because I'm really good at it, but I wouldn't want to do that for my own like self. Like I would want to be better than that. And I'm like, okay, Dave, yeah, you can sell anything. Sell Built Through Courage.
To run fast enough, outrun that grief or pain or fear of being found out, or the rejection that sat in the aftermath of divorce. Like all of that running, for me, it wasn't a question of if, it was when. And as it turned out, the pressure around the release of the book was going to be the time when all of it, for me, would kind of come falling down. And so many of the things.
His accent is like smug. Just smug accent. I don't know. It's weird.
That I've had to learn in this last year end up coming back to a conversation around integrity, because it's a thing that I have not fully learned in my lifetime, because it's the root of so much of the dissatisfaction, the absence of self-love, the voice of my critic, the shame that I carry. So many.
Okay, wait, take a second break. This is hilarious, right? Look at this. Okay, I was looking for the part where he says that line, "You're always in control. Take back control." That's not very integrity focused, those two titles right there. Okay, sorry, going back.
Things end up coming back to parts of my life being out of integrity with who I am. And so I don't know if you've ever experienced that feeling of being forced to learn something until it actually sticks, or being forced to learn something over and over again. But man, this conversation around integrity, it just keeps coming around again and again and again. And I think for me, while I'm closer to understanding it, I'm braced. I'm bracing myself, because I'm in the midst of trying to unlearn a lifetime of relationship attachment, of whether it's in codependence or in ego and the way that it has been served, or fear and the way that it has catalyzed my behavior, or whatever it ends up being. I have just a lifetime of stuff that I am trying to unlearn in this attempt to be true to myself, right? In having my actions and my truth aligned, the essence of who I am and the version of who I present looking exactly the same. And yeah, of course, it also comes down to like making promises to yourself and keeping them, right? Like that is the vehicle for respecting yourself and loving yourself and having dignity. Having
dignity, that to me is not my definition of integrity. All these coaches seem to think like sticking to your goals is like, okay, if I say I'm going to work out in the morning and then I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep 20 more minutes. Somehow that's not being in integrity. It's like, is that all that it is? Or is it like being a good person and, you know, when a moral situation comes up, like you choose the honest way forward? That's my thought of integrity, not like every self-help coach I've ever interacted with or been with has said the same thing. Like I was at this very scammy self-help conference that I was working, and they would say, okay, you know, have integrity. You have to be in your seat at 5:05. You know, be in integrity, align with integrity, and it was just so that they could sell you shit. That they could, you know, all the speakers were up there selling crap that no one needed, and so they wanted to guarantee that there was going to be butts in seats. So they're like, you know, basically shaming you into like, don't be that type of person who doesn't have integrity. It won't come back in the room on time. It's like, come on, man. Whatever.
Actually, keep your word to yourself. But it's also being okay with showing all of who you are, even the messy intricacies of what makes you human, to the world, to people on social, in your interpersonal relationships.
To the world, to people, to social media.
On an everyday basis.
Okay.
Because, and again, my experience. Denying any part of my experience, right? Curating some version of everything's great, this is awesome, or saying I'm going to do something but then not doing it, or whatever it is, right? Denying any part of my experience teaches me that the whole of me is not okay, right? Like if there's some part of me that I'm unwilling to bring into a room on some level, again, even if it's subconscious, I'm sending a message to myself that I'm not whole, that I'm not good, that if I were to expose this part of who I am, that I won't be loved. And
the weird thing is, if he would have listened to the haters on Reddit, like everyone was like rooting for him and saying like, you know, hey, just be yourself. No one wants you to be this like perfect guy that's got this hot blonde girlfriend that's, you know, perfect too, and that you have all the blended children and it's amazing. Like everyone was like, just chill out. Like people, you know, like you. It doesn't have to be and he was the one who was like, no, I must curate this perfect image. And that just comes from a place, in my opinion, of like insecurity and unhealing, not being, you know, I hate the word healing, but like not being in a place of security with yourself. And so it still doesn't sound like he's at that level. Like his solution for all of this word salad talk is to join a fitness competition where he has to get on stage like lubed up and muscly. It's like, oh yeah, okay, so that's really, you know, I look at a man on stage and with muscles and I'm like, he must have integrity. It's like, no. As soon as you know, put weight back on or aren't doing a competition, you're gonna feel your feelings again. It's like, this doesn't seem like you're really whole yet.
I, like anybody else, I have a desire more than almost anything in the world to be myself and be loved for who I am. And
very true. And I think that's where it comes to like, you're selling yourself as the guru. It's impossible not to, you know, I don't know, showing all of your kids, like showing your girlfriend, showing your trips, you're sharing all of that, but then you're also hiding it. That's the part where it gets confusing, because it's like, well, that is your brand. That this is the whole thing. There's no product other than watch my stuff and listen to me talk about myself. So that's where it starts to get like gray area.
What's crazy is like that desire, that kind of innate thing that lives deeply inside of so many of us, it can make us do some crazy shit. Like it can make us do things that just don't make sense. It can make us do things that we end up having shame for, regret for, or in some ways are disconnected from, again, the truth of who we are because we're so worried.
Okay, this part was like, I'm like, he's not going to say what it is. He's just going to allude to it. So if you know kind of feeling, but it goes so vague that I don't know what the fuck he's actually talking about. Like if I didn't know all the great detail of his life that he shared, I wouldn't know what he's referencing at all.
About pleasing ego, we're so worried about being inside of an in-group, like belonging. We're so worried of rejection, which again are all very normal human emotions, but satisfying not feeling rejected, or satisfying being in the in-group, or satisfying having them like you because you've kind of molded yourself into who you'd hope they might like. all of that ends up coming at the expense of you liking yourself because you are denying part of who you are.
Why is it you? Isn't this about you?
And it's part of why I think I just keep learning this lesson, man. I am on a mission to love myself and respect myself and to have dignity in knowing that I did what I said I was going to do, that my actions are aligned with who I am presenting myself to be, and that if there are parts of me that are not yet totally whole, that there is space to honor those parts, to bring them into a room, to have them be part of a conversation, and that even if there are people that could make fun of those parts or not like those parts, having them there and honoring that they are part of who you are and your human experience.
Like, what parts? This is so heady. I don't understand. It's so aloof. It's so like the parts of you that are in there to and further farther go. It's like, the fuck are you saying?
More important than pretending like they don't exist and then hating yourself in the dark because of your unwillingness to acknowledge that that's part of who you are. At least that's been my experience.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Different actor.
He's like, and I use Canva. This guy has never used fucking Canva in his life. That's not very being in line with integrity. You've never used Canva, Dave Hollis. Come on, give me a break. He's like, I use it every day.
With a single click, I can remove background.
Yeah, he's
country
making
and device used.
He's making graphics on Canva.
For
give
a
me a
free
break.
45-day we're doing, we were really, really fortunate to have Jack Canfield come in and join a Zoom for some of the crew. And he is the greatest. He wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, if you're not familiar. And he talked...
Jack Canfield put together a bunch of short stories into a book and was really smart about it. He didn't write the books.
So many great things. There were so many little...
And I've met Jack Canfield at the same scammy conference that I was just referencing. I have a picture somewhere. I'll find it.
Nuggets of wisdom. But one of the things that I loved the most was this little clip that I ended up recording in the comfort of this very chair where I am recording this now. I sent it over to Heidi. She put it up on her social. Give a listen to Mr. Jack Canfield.
So what I'm saying is that sometimes what you get is what you need, not necessarily what you want for your own evolution and growth. And you have to learn to trust. My assumption, based on years of work, is that the universe is always working in my behalf. What my first mentor taught me was to be an inverse paranoid. Paranoids think the world's out to get them. An inverse paranoid thinks the world out to benefit you. So it's a beneficent universe. Einstein said that. You have to decide one way or the other. It changes the quality of your life. So for me, if I believe the world is always in my favor, everything that shows up, I get to go, okay, what's the lesson here?
Cancel
what
me.
Quality am I supposed to develop? What am I supposed to learn, etc.
So
there I am.
Yes, that's genius. I want to break it down because for me, it was like one of these mind-exploding kind of moments where so many good things are in a single sentence, but against the backdrop of this conversation where I'm trying to understand why things have happened the way that they've happened in the last year, in many ways not making sense at the time that they were happening, only revealing after the fact that, of course...
I don't stand by this anymore. I just need to be honest about myself. I can't lie to you. I have integrity, okay? I need to share myself.
They had to happen in a certain way for me to learn the things that I was meant to learn, and this thing that I'm having to be retaught over and over again around the conversation of integrity and being true to myself, being such an important part of where peace and self-love and respect and everything else for myself ends up coming from. I thought it was just such a beautiful way of the universe wink and a little God wink kind of a moment for Jack to affirm some of what I had been feeling just a couple weeks ago when he was in the group having that conversation. So that first thing that he said was, sometimes you get what you need, not necessarily what you want for your own evolution and growth.
Always
you have to learn to trust.
What you want.
Like in the book, in my Built Through Courage book, I referenced Unanswered Prayers by old Garth Brooks. It's this interesting thing where I think we believe in this idea of praying and forget sometimes that we don't get a say in how the prayers get answered. And sometimes when it feels like we are going through something that is unexplainable, have a hard time believing that the things that are happening could in fact have anything to do with the answering of a prayer. And yet.
Oh my God. You should Photoshop Rachel's body on that. Everyone will go insane.
This isn't Burger King. You know, like I get frustrated that my prayers don't get answered my way. It's something that just, again, time ends up being such an important component in this for you to actually see how what was happening may in fact be happening in a way that can benefit you, or a thing that you
Good
need.
morning.
As you say, you get what you need, not necessarily what you want. I do wish that you got to detail how you got what you need. I wish that you could, ask God specifically for an itemized chronological list of how you'd like things to happen. It'd be better for our comfort or our patience or our preference, but it usually doesn't work out that way. And trust, of course, is a thing that you have to learn.
Thank you, Aaron. I think we did this before and I did not do it correctly either. Sorry. That photo is gold inside of integrity. Thank you very much. I got a picture of Dr. Oz as well from like 10 years ago. So I gotta pull that up as well to out myself, expose myself immediately.
You're not freaking fine.
You're not freaking fine, Aaron. You're not freaking fine, okay? It's fine.
Mic drop, homie.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But dang it if it isn't hard. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that, man, my faith has really been complicated in the last couple of years, where I found times where I was very angry with God, where I did not get what was going on. I could not make sense of why this was happening or why that was happening.
Why? As a white man in America with wealth, why is God not blessing me every minute of the day? God, why?
I've also, by the way...
Why are you picking on me? I'm so nice. I'm trying to help rich people.
Like many people have, come to appreciate that God is absolutely big enough and capable enough to handle my anger. Thank you very much. But it has, of course, like many people. It's been hard to make sense of why things happen the way that they do or when they do. Why is this happening now? But in some ways, that's the definition of faith, right? Like just trusting that it's happening the way that it's supposed to for you to grow. It's trusting that it's happening the way that it's supposed to for you to become this better version of yourself, or this more evolved version of yourself, or a more aligned, in my instance with this conversation around integrity version of myself. Like there's so many things that I can see now had to happen to bring me back to me.
Boring.
Ways I veered away from an authentic representation of who I am. I veered away from who I'd hoped to be, and in the dissonance that existed, I'd created a breach in integrity. And I couldn't love myself there. I couldn't respect myself there. I couldn't feel the kind of peace that you might feel when you find yourself aligned, right? So I appreciate things now that I couldn't appreciate then. If you're in the midst of something right now, time is going to be the equalizer. Time reveals all things. Time will show you some of why what you're going through right now is the thing that you're having to go through. It sucks in the moment. There's some stuff happening in my life right now that sucks in the moment.
Tell us what it is. Tell us what it is, or else I will literally fall asleep.
They truly have it all.
Dave, what do you want to convince us about you and Rachel?
They truly have it all.
Okay, let's take a pause for a second because I am literally going to fall asleep. This is in regards to Dave doing the Everest thing that that we talked about at the way beginning, if you've been here the whole time, where Rachel and Kez Kez completed it. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, that's mean. But this is him talking about when him and Rachel did the event together. I just think it's sort of a full circle moment.
What my body was capable of. I reframed what my mind was capable of.
Oh, wow.
How'd you go from...
Let's go back.
I've ever been through. My wife and I got further through to show myself that I am capable of more than then I have to be asleep by 9 p.m. because I have to be up by 5. And if I don't get sleep, I can't have 2 o'clock in the afternoon happening the way I want. So it starts at 9, and I have a meticulous routine that when my alarm goes off, I am a cyborg. This
is in 2020, by the way. This is posted in 2020.
There's no conversation. There's no snooze. I walk immediately to the exact same place every day because that's where my shoes are and my workout stuff is.
2 years ago.
Immediately to where the green juice is. Immediately from there to where the produce is. Like, I just go in a very much like methodical, beat by beat, step by step routine. But the second thing is, I am perpetually trying to find something physically that I can push myself further through.
Because I am boring. Nothing goes wrong in my life.
To show myself that I am capable of more than I believed I was capable of. And this has become a newer hack over the last couple of years as I've truly tried to be my own catalyst for the momentum I want in my life.
You got to talk about 29 or
29.
It's fucking crazy.
So 29 or 29, like we get done with 2019 and we're sitting around
Okay, that's the event that we talked about, the Everest climb thing.
Table, and the question is, what was the most important singular event of the entire year? My wife and I got recommitted 15-year wedding anniversary side of a hill in Ireland. That was her answer.
Awkward, because they'd be divorced a year later. Okay, sorry.
I wish I'd have gone second because my answer was completing this physical challenge.
Isn't that crazy though? This is obviously his recollection, but like they were, in 2019, they were going into 2020, I guess, thinking about it. And Rachel's best memory of 2019 was getting recommitted to Dave in the marriage in Europe. And then, he picked a different one. But within a year, she's already over him completely. It's crazy.
Because in this 29-0-29, it's an unbelievable endurance event, and it's more about mind than it is even physicality. You're ascending the 29,000 feet that would equal Everest. 13 times, as it turns out, in the place that we were at in Utah, up a hill at a very steep pitch that for hour and a half, hour 45-minute intervals of the hardest workout I've ever been through, you're pushing through 35 consecutive hours of effort. And when I was like 2 or 3 ascents in, I was 100% certain that it was not a thing I was capable of. And when I finished that 13th climb and could put on this red hat that they give you, I now had reframed what my body was capable of.
God, Rachel did not get her red hat. She is gonna freak the fuck out. God.
Framed what my mind was capable of.
How'd you go from certain you weren't going to make it to actually doing it? That's a pretty big shift, especially in the middle of pain and suffering.
Well, in one way, I have, as an accountability partner and best friend, a woman who was wired unlike most of humanity, right? So she was like, okay, you can die in a ditch here at the bottom. I am gonna just keep climbing. And the idea that she might continue without me, super motivating. I would also happen to be the beneficiary of someone who's been here, serendipitously riding down on the gondola with us on after the second ascent. Colin O'Brady happened to have just been walking up this hill.
So Colin O'Brady is the guy that both Rachel and Dave interviewed recently about walking for 12 hours, like go on a 12-hour walk, and that's gonna, cure your problems. They met him at that event when they did it in 2019, I guess. But yeah, so it's very interesting that Rachel she completed it the first time with Dave and threatened to leave him, and that inspired him to keep going. I guess Kez threatening to leave her and leaving her did not cause her to get inspired and complete it.
And though we had no concept of who he was as we were walking up the hill, we're sitting in this gondola and he says, oh yeah, hey, my name's Colin. Oh, cool, what do you do? I just walked across Antarctica
Too famous, that's why.
Unaided. I'm like, oh, are you a cyborg sent back from the future or are you made of skin too? And when I realized that like this human truly has the same humanity
Dave
as I
Hollis does.
is capable of spending 54 days of time pulling a sled, a switch went off. And I was like, you know what? If he can do that,
Yes, Emily. And I think she was trying to tell the narrative that she was going to do the climb better the second time because she's doing it from love. And in reality, she did not complete it with Kez, but she did complete it with Dave. So now the narrative is totally thrown off. What is the universe trying to tell her? We will find out in the next book or 3.
I can walk up this hill 11 more times. And I just decided that I was going to do it.
That's such a cool moment, especially because knowing Colin's story, day one, he breaks down crying. He's like, I'm never going to be able to finish this. And so to go from like crying, I can't do this, to setting a world record and beating the guy that was essentially racing him by some ungodly number of hours, days, I think, because he just finally found his sort of mental space to occupy and then went after it. It is really interesting to me when somebody can do that just full stop. But when you can do that in the middle of the pain, I find it really, really interesting. And what I love is, again, using that like, yo, I don't want my wife to do this and I'm wussing out. I think that's really powerful. And I think a lot of people hide from how useful that is.
Yeah.
And then, hearing that, hey, if somebody else can do it. Then.
I'll say this too. I mean, like, this is how much of an imprint this thing had. For the last 6 ascents, I mean, like the better part of half a day, I did one thing. In through the nose, I said the word stronger. Out through the mouth, I said the word better. I had ski poles, and that is the only thing I did. I became a robot walking up that hill. I said stronger, as in this step, I am becoming a stronger human being. I then said better, I will be better for having completed
push
this
that
challenge.
button.
I said it so many times, I got the words tattooed right here on my arms.
Whoa.
Because I needed a reminder that when I face a challenge that feels mentally more challenging
Dave never heard a quote before that he hasn't tattooed on himself.
than I believe is possible for me to complete, or physically beyond the limits of my capacity, that I am stronger and will become better for having endured whatever that thing is. I used it in completing my first marathon. I will use it as I am getting ready to do my first Ironman. I'm not looking for like...
Which he never did.
The 100-mile race necessarily. Yet.
We'll see.
Right?
I was going to say,
I mean, here's the thing.
The rate you're going.
Yeah, right? And the headline is, I came into the idea of pushing myself physically with some limiting beliefs around what was possible for someone.
Okay, wait. This is a classic Hollisville moment. This is one of the classics. It's a momentous quote. This is where Dave's going to talk about how he's too tall to run. Kitty, stop. Okay, ready?
With my frame, that I'm too tall to run was a story that had been told to me for years and years of my life. I didn't run a single mile until I was 36 years old.
Whoa.
1 single mile. And in this last year, I've run 1,000 miles.
That's crazy.
So literally 1,000 miles on the road. And so it's just, if there's something in a story that was given to you through the lens of someone else's fear, you have to test the hypothesis of your truth. And I now am in this position every single day of, well, I didn't think I could climb that mountain, so I did it, and now I believe I can go do other things.
Dude, we've got to go back to the statement that you just made about you've got to test the hypothesis of your truth.
I didn't know that tall white boys like me could make it in this world. And by the world, I mean the running community of marathons. I thought that we were going to be left out in this one small arena that is life. But I was wrong about that. We are also dominating that too. Don't get it twisted.
That is so fucking rad. And I think that people get so
rad.
They believe something and they never test it. So how do you systematically begin to, one, identify that you have a truth, accept that it's a hypothesis, and then how do you go about testing it?
Well, I've had to do a lot of work. I mean, like, it began for me, honestly, in the midst of being stuck. I sat on a couch across from a stranger in therapy as a vehicle for my more pragmatically wired.
Thank you, Eliana Rodriguez. Chose a laptop computer with work on the screen. You better work, bitch. You better work. I haven't played this one. This is perfect. Dave's too tall to run, but he's not too gassy to fart.
Oh, I love that sound.
Okay, this is basically he's going to go on about how amazing he is. Thank you, Eliana. And for that, I'll also play a song for you.
Why do you follow me if you don't already own my book?
Good questions to be asked. He has this one line in here, and I don't know exactly where it is, so I don't want to waste too much time on it. But basically, he said what I just said. He's like, or said a little bit ago, he's like, I'm so good at selling. People will buy whatever crap I sell, but I don't want to do that for me. I want to sleep at night. It was so fucking stupid.
Wired brain to understand why.
Might be coming up.
Right? I want to understand why I do the things.
Life.
Kitty.
And sitting with a therapist was a way for me to get a set of answers to my behavior. Because it was not something that was living on my conscious level, it was in my subconscious. And through a lot of verbal processing, a little bit of journaling, and sitting in front of a stranger who would listen, all of a sudden some of the whys start to show up.
This is so interesting. So I get asked a lot about or I'll get asked questions to which the punchline is self-awareness. But I always struggle a little bit to help people figure out how does one become more self-aware. So therapy is something that you used. I think that's really interesting, and I'd love.
Very interesting.
So let's wrap this in a larger framework of becoming more self-aware. But let's go a little deeper on therapy for a second.
He's not self-aware still.
Most people would balk at therapy. It feels like, going back to your thesis about, I thought that
because of people like you.
Self-help was for people who are broken. People assume that therapy is for people who are broken. So how did you overcome that? And then what were you hoping to get out of therapy?
Yeah, I walked into therapy thinking it was for broken people. And at
Cool.
the time, because of my station, I was stuck. So I was comfortable saying, all right, as a stuck person, maybe I'm broken. What I realize is, none of us are broken. We have seasons of brokenness, but aren't broken.
His eyebrows
And
look
that
different here
therapy,
too.
As much as I may have entered it with a negative stigma attached to it, it was a gift, not just for people who are experiencing a season of brokenness, but for full and whole people that are interested in having a fuller,
Full and whole
bigger
people can also
version of their
benefit
life.
from therapy.
It was truly, though, for me, this pursuit of finding answers. I was really
Why
really
do you
interested
follow
in why.
me if
I
you don't?
feel like I am stuck, though, to the
Why do
outside
you
world
follow
as the president of distribution at the Walt Disney Company.
Why do you follow? Why do you follow?
Kitty, stop it. Come here. Come here. I can't. There's not a pillow.
Giving me life.
She's so mad. Go on the other one. Okay, sorry, everybody. Sorry, but also, thank you. All right, the good
It
moments.
is 18 American dollars.
Oh my God. Okay.
As the father of 3 healthy children,
I don't care what he's saying. But that same thing, I don't care what he's saying here either. I'm bored. Let's skip ahead.
Better now. Love the circumstances that I'm working through right now, but I know it's for a good. The second big thing he said, and this is a big one, is just this idea that the universe is always working on my behalf. Being inverse paranoid. I'd never heard this term in my life. I'm now in love with this term. It's difficult for me, by the way, as a pragmatic, practical person who, I'm going to argue, as much as I hate to have to even admit this, I lean towards pessimism more than optimism, even though I know I need to reach for something better, even though...
Why? Choose sadness. Dave is changing teams, and he will be choosing sadness, but not yet, not until he becomes self-aware. But he is laying the groundwork.
Like to believe that something good can happen. I am observant of all that could go wrong, have been my entire life. Be an inverse paranoid. A paranoid thinks the world is out to get them. An inverse paranoid believes the world is out to benefit them. This decision determines the quality of your life. This decision. I'll tell you what, when you're going through hard things, you want to punch a person who says these words in the face. Violence is never the answer. I'm not an advocate of it, but as a person who's had to in the midst of being forced to my knees, going through some shit that nobody, I certainly didn't ever hope to have to go through. It's really, really difficult. It's really difficult to just say, hey, you know what? Decide that this is going to end up working out for you. And I think that there's a time, I will actually argue against this just a little bit. I think there's actually a time when it's okay to just be pissed off. I think that there's a time when it's okay to just be angry or be really sad or be real.
Isn't he like on our team with this narrative, but then he like backtracks it immediately?
Unsure of what the heck is going on. And then I think that time expires. I think that there's a time for anger and a place for frustration, and definitely you have to create a lot of space for grief. But at a certain point, I think that there is this invitation to choose, all right, I'm not going to stay here forever. I'm not going to stay here for the rest of my life. This sucks, and I don't think it's fair, and I wish it wasn't happening. And also, it's time to believe that it's for a greater good, and I'm going to take a step out of this, and another step. And in a Robert Frost kind of way, the only way out is through, right? Another Robert Frost thing.
Damn.
2 Robert
Kimberly.
Frost quotes back to back, Dave. Come on.
Kimberly.
The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I got promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep, right? Like, there may be miles in front of you. The woods might be dark, but the only way out is through. You got to take a step and then another step. And part of the willingness or the ability to take a step, it requires that you have some hope. It requires that you believe that something good can come out of it. And so I'm going to, give some credit to this idea from Jack that the universe having your back being a choice is a thing that if you can choose it may in fact be one of the only things that you can reach for when you're starting your journey out of stock. Right? I mean, I'm sure people have heard Tony Robbins' idea that, you
Okay, this is the only funny part, and then we can stop.
question, how is this happening for? A choice is a thing that if you can choose it may in fact be one of the only things that you can reach for when you're starting your journey out of stock. Right? I mean, I'm sure people have heard Tony Robbins' idea that, you ask the question, how is this happening for you and not to you? Again, when you're going through something effing miserable, you want to tell Tony to shove it up Tony's ass. But how is this happening for you and not to you?
Okay, that's it. That's all I got the strength for. I'll include the tarot photo on here. Hold on. Tarot she's still in her spot, leaning and breathing. She's so cute, isn't she? She's the best. She can go right there. There you go. Can I crop? Oh no, I can just make it small. So that's the soundboard. That's the secret. That's actually the real secret. Oh, Lord. They can't even come up with new quotes. Like, Heidi uses that quote. Rachel uses that quote. Dave uses that quote. Tony uses that quote. It's like, why are we paying for any of this dumb shit? And I did soundbite it. Tarot, can I help you? Can you push the button?
You want to tell Tony to shove it up Tony's ass.
But I want to be in the good graces of Tony, so I won't say that. Anyways, sorry for it was a little bit rough tonight. I think it's because a little bit of randomness came in with that Rachel Hollis podcast. A little bit lame. The love one was good. I think there's a good narrative there with the Everest thing that I'm excited to look forward to. Oh, you're done? She knows it's time to party. Where are you going? Okay, bye. I got to take this off. It's no longer accurate. I need to go spend time with Tarot. I need to go spend time with Pancake Tarot, making the pancakes. So this week is a little crazy. I don't know if I'll come live again on this channel, and we may go live on Cringefluencers this week, but Cam is like in the middle of moving countries, and I'm sort of doing stuff too for work and hurricaning and things. So we'll keep it fresh. We'll keep it light. We'll cover some more subjects. And if you haven't joined the membership, I encourage you to do so, or else. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm going to put some more polls in there about future topics to mix it up. So I'm trying to expand the Hollis universe a little bit into more people who are associated. Like maybe we could look at Danielle, the breathwork lady, and we could look at Beans. I want to start taking a look at some of these people that we are talking about a lot, but don't actually know much about, just to give everyone and myself a better understanding of all the characters in this universe. Because why not? We're here, right? We might as well go deep, dig deep into these people. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave Hollis. Thank you, JB. Dave is a very tall quote recycle bin. Yes, he is. And when I find that clip, I'll make it a short of Dave saying that he is so good at selling stuff that, he's invincible and whatever. The only thing holding him back is his own integrity. Because I think it's such a good line, and I've been holding on to it for a while, and now I don't know what time it is, so I'll find it. But for JB...
It's giving me life.
Dave is giving me life. JB, this is how I think about you and about everyone who knows you.
They truly have it all.
They truly have it all. Before we go, let's check in with Lisa one more time. Lisa, are you there?
What up, homie?
Oh, hi. Where are you? I haven't heard about you in a while. Heard from you. How's it going? What are you doing?
I'm outside the Cheesecake Factory waiting for it to open.
Damn. Cheesecake Factory? More like cheesy cake factory with that joke.
Mic drop, homie.
Thank you. Thank you, JB. Oh, Lord. What else did I got? Let's see. This is Kathy from Kathy's World. No. Kathy from the opposite of depression is purpose. I don't know. It's her podcast is like quit your day job or something. This is Kathy.
You're not freaking fine.
You're not freaking fine. You're not freaking fine.
You have to think instead of sitting around eating Skittles and watching Oprah reruns.
Crickets, you say? That's what people say after my jokes. Here's a Tony Robbins.
What excites me most is see a person die. What excites me most is see a person die.
This one.
I'm probably going to misquote it.
Probably.
I don't know if anybody has worked as hard on this topic as I have.
True.
Unfollow me.
Accurate.
I put out so much crap.
True.
I'm more of a hippie than you are.
You're right.
This person is not okay.
I agree.
This situation is a red flag.
These are so good. Thank you, Rebecca Romana. Thank you. Rebecca says, if Dave can sell anything, he can sell Moon Knight Season 2 when we get married. You know what Rachel Hollis has to say about this impending marriage, Rebecca?
I do not give a fuck.
But I think she should, because again, my one piece of marketing advice to her is to get back with Dave and write a book about it. That will sell like hotcakes. Amy Alberts, it's coming up. It's going to pop up, but it says, for tarot, get yourself something purdy. Okay, let me do it again. For tarot, get yourself something purdy. Thank you. Hopefully that's not offensive.
I am not problematic.
Because I am not problematic. Okay. But also,
I don't regret anything.
What is it about
me
that made you think I'm
the best, goodest, good girl you ever met in your life?
Thank you, Amy. I don't have a P.O. box. I need one for many reasons, so I don't have my address anywhere on the internet. It would be nice. Not that it's outwardly there, but I would like to switch everything over to that. So maybe I shall. Maybe I shall get a P.O. box. Would that be a good idea? I don't want to be like, I have so many people sending me stuff. Who?
Me.
Not
Jack.
True. I will make a poll in the group and ask. But that's a good idea, I think. Weasel Fairy, thank you so much. Can we get a final soundbite from Taro? Oh, Taro, come here. She might be out of commission. I think she's like sick of laying on the table and then being pestered by me, going like, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. I could sing a song though. Come here. Come here, Taro.
There's Colleen.
This is what I'm trying to do.
I try my hardest to not work.
Same. Oh, wait, Rebecca, this one's for you. I forgot.
You are gonna marry Dave Hollis.
That one's specifically yours now. Okay. Let's sing a song, and then we can, and then I will make a Taro purring soundbite and a little meow soundbite. That's a good idea. That way, when she's off duty, she can still be a part of the show. She needs food, actually. I need to go to the store because she's running low, and we don't like food running low. We have outdoor kitty food, too, which is not as science diet expensive, but, I don't want to give her the low brand of Taro foods. Okay, ready? Can you hear it? Barely. Tara, where you at? Where you at? Are you coming back to the show to give a little smack on the soundbite board? We all love you 'cause you are the best cat in the world, and everyone likes to hear from you. Tara, we do, yeah, yeah, yeah. Taro is a black cat, she is really cool. She wants you to smack that 'cause she's got rhythm. And she's a cool girl who likes to be on the live stream. She's living the kitty dream. That is Taro. The key is World Taro. She is the role model of the world. Taro is so cool. I used to do a lot of videos. Well, first of all, thank you. Gotta have some self-respect, gotta have some integrity and cheer for myself. I have videos of myself when I was a kid, and I would do stupid songs too on tape. And I would always say, Oklahoma rocks, man. So, I guess I can add that into the stream because I'll show you the video that I have it on my phone. I'll post it after this is done on Instagram. And we can incorporate that because for some reason, it made a lot of sense when I was 11. Again, memberships are available. If you click the description in this video, the highlights channel will have all these segments on shortly. And it now has 1,000 subs, so I can be monetized. Yes, I'm slowly buying myself a boat.
I love you.
Oops.
I will slowly buy you a boat.
Me too. I really hope that she doesn't either. I think she likes it because she doesn't come when I edit. She's not here, but when I'm recording, she's here. So I think she likes it. Okay, we're leaving. One final click, 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 and we are out. And
Clear, clear, clear.
Goodbye.